वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदाम् शुद्धसत्त्वस्वरूपिणीं स्वच्छहृदयनिवासिनीं शुद्धसत्त्वस्वरूपिणीं स्वच्छहृदयनिवासिनीं स्वप्रकाशरूपिणीं 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 वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदाम्
Check. We would now like to welcome Mr. V.N. Shivashankar, founder of VNS Legal and Vice President of the South Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, otherwise known as SICCI. He did his Bachelor's of Law at the Madras Law College in 1993, and prior to that, he did his BCom at Vivekananda College in 1990. I'd now like to invite Mr. V.N. Shivashankar to deliver his welcome address on this special occasion.
Good morning. Ms. Lise Talbot Bar, Consul General of France of Puducherry and Chennai, Tirumati Jacinta Lazarus, IAS Commissioner, Rehabilitation and Welfare of Non-Resident Tamils, Government of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Thangam Meghanadam, Chair, SICCI Educational Committee and Chairperson, Rajalakshmi Institutions, and friends. It's my great privilege to be amongst you today, such a distinguished gathering, and I'm very happy to welcome all of you to celebrate this International Women's Day. We in India have had a long history of women empowerment. There have been times where it has deviated a bit. I think now globally it is now coming back. Today on this day, we join the world in paying tribute to women, the Nari Shakti. And the theme, this year's theme for International Women's Day is General Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. Short words that mask the scale of the task we face if we were to ensure equality for women and girls here at home and across the globe. Whenever we travel on International Women's Day, it's become a norm that the flight we are in is commanded by an all-women crew. We saw reports about the police stations being manned by all women. These are all small steps, but I think much more needs to be done at a substantive level to recognize the importance which women play in our life. Equality needs to be established in the midst of prejudice and discrimination which has happened. The outdated gender stereotypes, such attitudes really do not have a place in modern society, and these result in systematic underrepresentation of women. From a legal front, there have been several proactive steps taken both by the judiciary as well as the legislature to promote equality and to give more representation to women. So therefore, equality must really mean equality, not just a symbolic statement. It's a celebration of respect which we have for women today. Women have made immeasurable contribution to the world since time immemorial. Not because they are just half of the population. They have excelled, distinguished and excelled in all fields, business, judiciary, farming, education, all fields. So So I think what we are today, what I am today is personally because of the women in my life who have played a very supportive and formative role, right from the kindergarten teacher to the school teacher to the, we have never faced male teachers all our life. So those, that has really created an impact. So the kind of tenderness which they have given and the kind of support which they have given cannot be put down in words. I'll just be making a mockery of myself if I try to read something. So this is the time for us to reflect and celebrate the achievements. We have a huge gathering of distinguished persons here. I'll be happy to hear and share your success stories. Permit me to say a couple of words about SICKI. We have completed 111 years of service to the industry, formed under the inspiration of Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation. We have tried to remain youthful, at the same time trying to embrace change, trying to be in tune with the times. We are happy to say that we have made quite a lot of progress in being the go-to chamber for the Tamil Nadu government as well as the Indian government in certain areas. The defense area is one area where SICKI has played a significant contribution. The Tamil diaspora outreach, Yadamure Conclave, which was held in the midst of the pandemic, was a huge success, where we were able to connect and attend, make sure 4,000 participants from all over the globe attended. We are working with Chennai Corporation to set up a sister cities desk, which will connect cities of Tamil Nadu with the cities of the world. And we're also working with the Department of Culture to build an industry museum. This is going to be the one of the kind where we can showcase the industrial potential of Tamil Nadu. And we are also planning to set up a reader's lounge along with Chennai Metro Rail. On this note, I won't take up much of your time. I thank all of you for having assembled here today and looking forward to a good program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Leadership is the ability to guide others without force into a direction or decision that leaves them still feeling empowered and accomplished. This cannot be more true when you think about our beloved chairperson. On top of being the chairperson for Rajalakshmi institutions, she is also a member of the SICKI Education Committee. She has 2 decades of experience in the field of educational administration and management. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pride and pleasure to invite Dr. Mrs. Thangam Meghanathan to deliver her presidential address.
A very good morning to one and all present here. A very, very happy Women's Day. At the outset, let me just express my thanks for SICKI for joining hands with Rajalakshmi. Rajalakshmi institutions have always believed in celebrating this Women's Day year on year. We have always done it in the campus always. Because we always want to inspire our students, women students. And this particular year, I thought let me join this Chamber of Commerce because inspiring the students is very, very important. At the same time, you know, taking the cost that we are talking about to be taken as a policy to the policy makers is also equally important, I thought. So I thought let me this year do it with a Chamber of Commerce. So maybe whatever we talk, can we put in kind of a policy and recommend it to the, and we have our IAS officer here who is also, you know, in a position to make some difference. Like, you know, we can motivate, talk a lot, make an impact in the minds of the young kids. But at the same time, what is also important is to get the policy makers to address certain issues that we are probably facing with. So with these words, let me just thank every one of, I think we have wonderful women here today, excellent. We have Ms. Lissette Talbot Barre from Consul General of France, and we have Jacinta Lazarus, Commissioner Rehabilitation and Welfare of Non-Resident Tamils. This is also important, a very, very important portfolio, and addressed by Dr. A. Jayashree Gajaraj, a person who has been in the field of gynecology, a very successful gynecologist who has delivered number of babies, but she knows she delivers both boys and girls. And you know, where things change, we all will have to really think about. And then we have Bharati Bhaskar, a great speaker whom I personally admire. And we have Ponni Oscar, who is a very well-known architect. She's got several awards already in place. And Mrs. Radha Daga, who is an entrepreneur, and Shobna Vignesh, a singer, is unable to be present here because her son is ill, so she is unable to be here today with us. And we have Tendral Rajendran, who is part of a HR group in talent acquisition. And we have Maya Sri Kumar, who is a much senior person in campus recruitment and training as a training head in cognizant technology, who I suppose are coming across a lot of these young women who come into the workforce and their problems and issues, because technology companies today are they've made a great improvement in the lives of women, I would say. I should definitely acknowledge, particularly engineering graduates. Those days did not have much opportunity to go and work outside because people still think that mechanical and aeronautical and automobile engineering is not maybe for women. But with the advent of software engineering and with our country making it big in this particular field, a lot of opportunity for our young girls to work in these software technology companies. And before my own eyes, in the past 3 decades, I've seen a great transformation in the attitude of our young girls in terms of being more confident, because financial independence is something that it is absolutely non-negotiable. And then we have Sonia Ramdas, whom I know her to be a very nice person who started as started with a cable, and now she, I think, is running a cable channel herself. And Shiny Surendran, whom we are all very familiar with, because all we women, that's what I say, I keep talking about gender equality and parity and all that. When I walk into any meeting room, I find men are very least bit bothered. At least I don't see men too conscious of how they look. But we women are so conscious of how we look. But that's probably important. People like Shiny Surendra keeps telling us what to eat, what not to eat, but I think she's lost with me. Okay, and with these women here, it's a great pleasure to be here doing our Women's Day celebration. And we have our teachers here, some of our teachers here. And I just would like to put a couple of things of what is on my head, like, what makes a big difference for, we call it an International Women's Day, and we tend to naturally talk about the issues particularly pertaining to this region, that is Indian women. International women and Indian women. Some of the issues are very, very common across the globe, but there are issues that are particularly thing for our own country, kind of a thing. Like, I would say these things can be addressed. Each nation will have its own issues pertaining to their women. What is the kind of suffering that their women are going through? The sufferings that are being gone through by women in United States may be different from sufferings that are gone through by women in India. That basically depends on the level of economic progress, social development. Society, India as a country, like we have always had wonderful empowerment for women, and somewhere on the way with different mixes coming in, I think we have also gone through several changes in our lives, and social changes brought in very good things like bringing education to women. That's a wonderful change, great change. All of us should welcome. Girl children's education is being given a complete thrust by the government. But this education does not make you any different. This education is adding value to you and to your family and to the society. That should not make you think that you need to be away from the city, or you should, as a woman, whatever you need to perform needs to be performed. Along with this, you are better equipped to perform what you have been performing without education. With education, whatever you have been performing, you should be able to do much better. Education only empowers you in terms of thinking much more logically, and see what is it that you should go for and what is it that you should prevent yourself from going for. Social changes that is impacting Indian women, and the economic progress that is being made by women individually is very good, but across, as a policy kind of a thing, equal pay for equal work is something that definitely needs to be talked about. So with these words, like this theme of gender equality leads to sustainability is something, I think it's a very well thought out topic, because sustainability is something that is very important. We are unable to sustain today. In matrimony market, you see that there are less number of women sometimes and more number of men. And right now, I think there are less number of women. We have to sustain. Anything needs to be sustained, and all the more reasons because human race has to sustain. So in order to sustain the human race, without which everything will come to a standstill, we need to definitely look into this gender equality, and that should be leading to sustainability. Because if you have only, I cannot imagine a world full of men. I cannot imagine a world full of women. We have to have Shakti and Shivam. Both have to be there. Thank you very much. With these words, I think whatever I thought I should put it across, I have put it across. I am looking forward to listening to these wonderful women present here. Thank you.
Big, bold, and fast climate action has never been more needed than today. People with least resources are the ones most defenseless when climate change strikes. Women are the majority of those people today. Women are more vulnerable to the effects of climate change than men. It hits them harder and in very specific ways. As groundwater disappears from several areas of India, women have to travel longer distances often in a scorching heat. The burden of domestic responsibility keeps getting heavier and impacts women's health. In general, during conflict, women face heightened domestic violence, sexual intimidation, human trafficking, and rape. Climate change is a women's issue. However, despite being most vulnerable to climate impacts, women are also in a unique position to mitigate the crisis, with a place at the forefront of climate solution and action. No one is more equipped to speak up for women and address the unique disadvantages than women themselves. As the effects of climate change are felt, examples of women and girls stepping up to act have been demonstrated around the world. They have made major contribution to climate change research, policy, and to broader analysis of global environmental issues. They bring more empathy and inclusiveness in advocacy and problem solving, which enhances the efficacy as sustainability leaders. Progress on gender equality can drive progress on climate action and vice versa. We want to see all countries stepping up their commitments to center gender equality in climate action in line with the Gender Action Plan and to include women at the heart of climate change decision making as agents of change. Climate change policies will fail unless women have greater influence over decisions from where to build wells to how to negotiate a global deal.
and encouraged by a short clip. Now, we have with us Ms. Lise Talbot-Barre, Consul General of France to Puducherry and Chennai. Prior to her current role, she was the Special Advisor to the Director of Asia and Oceania from 2017 to 2020, the head of the Operators Cluster at the General Department for Cooperation and Development Policies, Paris, from 2014 to 2017. She is also the founder and vice president of Hand Diplomat, the association of the Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs dedicated to disability. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Applied Languages from the University of Portsmouth, UK. I'd now like to call upon our beloved chairperson to honor Ms. Lise Talbot-Barre with a shawl and Mr. V. N. Shivashankar to honor her with a bouquet. I'd like to now call upon Ms. Lise Talbot-Barre to say a few words on this occasion.
Vanakkam. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour. It's always a pleasure to take part in International Women's Day. I am, as the speaker said, personally very involved in gender equality activities, empowerment, and I would say equal opportunity for everyone, equal opportunities, women's and men's, but also disabled person. I couldn't agree more with all what's said, Dr. Meghanathan. It's very inspiring. Yes, we need to work on the political level and decision-making level to reach gender equality, equal opportunities for everyone. In my country, our president, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, raised gender equality as a national cause for his mandate. And my ministry, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has adopted an international strategy to promote gender equality internationally in our foreign policy, in our cooperation programs, but also internally within the ministry in terms of human resources management, career planning, equal salary, so forth and so on. So yes, we need to work on the decision-making level, but as you said, we also need to work on the ground. Gender equality is not the issue of one day a year, the issue of the 8th of March. It's an everyday issue, every day of the year. We cannot take it for granted. As it was mentioned, we had times of progress, but we also had time of backlashes in India, in France, and there are much more common challenges between France and India than you can imagine. Actually, I'm really glad to say that in certain extents, India is ahead of France in terms of gender equality. We all have our issues and challenges, but like India, you had this exceptional and brilliant female prime minister, Indira Gandhi. In France, we've never had a female prime minister, so that's very inspiring. And on a ground, on a day-by-day basis, education, yes, women empowerment is also raising awareness among young girls, among women, of the broad scale of opportunities. There are prejudices like, mechanical engineer is not a job for a woman. This is false. You can be whatever you want. As a young girl, you have all the scale of opportunities ahead of you, but we just have to show it. We have to show role models, to show success stories. And the event of today is really about showing brilliant women, showing brilliant career opportunities that, yes, it is possible. You can be a brilliant architect as a woman. You can be a mechanical engineering as a woman. You can be a diplomat as a woman. And don't be afraid to be the first female architect in your community or the first female diplomat in your family. I am the first female civil servant in my family. Yes, sometimes it's hard. It takes courage, it takes determination, it takes hard working, but there's no limit if you have this will and good people by your side. It's also a question of solidarity. We have to show solidarity among women to help younger sisters to be more self-confident, to be ambitious, and because very often what prevents women from reaching their goals is the timidity, is the shyness, is the self-restriction we impose ourselves. So we have to help our fellow young girls and to be ambitious, to be more self-confident, to have more awareness of what we really can do. So, and I think this is very important. So education and empowerment of girls and women, yes, but also we have to work on education of boys, because you cannot reach a gender equality in your society if you don't have also awareness among boys that every kind of jobs, especially at home, can be made by the both of us, by men and women. And as a mother of 2 sons, I feel really concerned, and I was thinking to myself, I had to do something different with the education of my children, different from the education I received from my parents. And so yes, at every level, every one of us can do a difference, helping young girls, educating young boys in a more equally gender way. So all together with our decision maker, we can build a more equal society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your amazing insight. Among millions of people who attempt the UPSC exam, very few succeed at it. Becoming an IAS officer is no easy feat and requires so much hard work, dedication, and more. One IAS officer who embodies all of these ideals is Ms. Jacinta Lazarus. I'd now like to call upon our beloved chairperson to honor Ms. Jacinta with a shawl and Mr. V.N. Shivashankar to honor Ms. Jacinta with a bouquet. I'd now like to have Ms. Jacinta Lazarus speak a few words.
Good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure and honor to be amidst a plethora of dignitaries, and I would like to thank Siki and Rajalakshmi institutions for inviting me for this momentous occasion. Women's Day celebration has always been something which is very close to all our hearts. Just like how Ms. Lisa was mentioning, it's where we like to showcase our women and show the others the role models we have. When I was thinking, actually, very honestly, when I was looking at the guest list, and I was chatting with my mom, and I saw Miss Bharati Bhaskar there. Then my mom was saying, Ayo, how will you go and speak there? You have such eminent speakers there. I said, yeah, I need to at least think. So I'm really happy that we have such great personalities, and forgive me that, I mean, I'll keep my speech short. I was very, it was very interesting to see the guest list. We had women from every field here. It looked as if like women had come a full circle. When you look at the ancient civilizations, you see women had their role, they had their place, and somewhere down the line, we slipped. I don't know what has happened. Maybe physical superiority was treated as superiority of men down the line, and somewhere we had slipped. Now it looks as if we have come a full circle, as if we have women. There's hardly any field where we don't see women these days. We find them in each and every field. I mean, things which has been always thought as male domain. Women have come inside. But when we look into it, is it a one-off thing? Is it a one lady who had managed, like how Ms. Lisa was saying, one lady who had a courage to go inside and make a difference there, or has it become the norm? That is where we need to concentrate on. We need to make this as a norm, that it is a normal for any man or women to be in all domains. And what happens is we have this habit of camouflaging gender equality in the way we say we respect women. We say we respect, we adore her, we keep her in a pedestal, and then we camouflage the things which are going behind. I mean, I would like to introduce myself a little bit. I got into the service in 2005, and I was given Manipur Kadam. This is in the Northeast. And most of us would not have, when I got the service, me and my father, we were searching around, how do I reach Manipur, which is the airport I look in. And Northeast has been a very turbulent place. So it was a very, very difficult decision for my father to even say, yes, go on. And I had to tell him, we struggled so long. I mean, I am what I am because of my father. So I would say that I told him, no, let's go, we'll try it out, we'll see how it is. And when I went to the Northeast, especially Manipur, I was very surprised. Women were treated as equals. Women in Northeastern women are given lot of importance. So I was very, very happy. They said, when we speak about social evils, they said, we don't have dowry system, we don't have, actually, it is reverse. We pay bride price. So if a man wants to marry a lady, he goes to the girl's house and he says, okay, this is what all I can offer to the lady and I will take her. So they were very proud of it, and they were telling me that women are being adored. So I said, okay, looks very nice. And if all of you may not know, we have a very big market in Manipur. It is called the Imam Market, which is run only by women. And there are 2,000 odd women entrepreneurs who are there. And it is, no man has a shop there, and it is only run by women. So I was very excited. I said, oh my God, where have I landed? It seems to be heaven for women. And then when I was checking up, once I started interacting with them, I asked them, do you get properties? They said, no, but it has to go to the eldest son. How does women get the property? And can we have something called village councils there? So these councils are something which decide the fate of the village. So I was very surprised as a young subdivisional officer. I was going and seeing there, and then they said, but in the village council, women have no role in a village council. Of course, we have given them women associations. They can always be there in the women association and they can tell us. But village councils is for men. I was amazed the way they had the camouflaging happens. We say that we admire them, adore them, we give them everything, we keep them on a pedestal. But at the end of the day, which gives equality, which gives a woman a sense of equality is about the power as well as the financial independence. And both were not given, saying that I will take care of you. I will take care of your finances, and I will take care of all the decision making. Why do you have to bother about these kind of things? This is where we need to make a lot of difference. I would agree with Dr. Meghnadhan when she was saying that, yes, lot of policy making decisions have to be made, because we actually, at the end of the day, we don't understand this camouflaging. That is where we need to work on, because as a young officer, lot of us have achieved so many. So all of us are there in different fields. Each of us have our own stories. Each of us have our own story about motivations, how we have come up, about people who have helped us reach this level. And I would say that everywhere we say that over ஆணுக்கு பின் ஒரு பெண் இருக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு பெண்ணுக்கு பின்னும் ஒரு ஆண் இருக்காங்க. I am here today, what I am, it's because of my father. And I would say what he was because of his mother. He brought him up in a way that he didn't even think that me and my brother were any different. If I was good in studies, I could study for UPSC. If my brother was not good in studies, he was not studying in UPSC. It was as simple as that. It was nothing to do with a girl or a guy. If, as a mother, we are able to make this difference, that we do not allow our children to see any difference, and that makes a lot of difference. We have, each of us, when we come up in life, we have an even bigger burden to carry. I remember as a young IAS officer, this was my first year of service. I joined there, and in Manipur, I was the only lady officer there. And first time, I think we had an evening get together. So I was sitting there, and then we had, it was very funny. So the men folks sit in one location, and all the women folk go to the other side, and then I'm supposed to go and sit there and discuss how nice my sari is, and whether my jewelry is good. What am I supposed to do? And I was very uncomfortable. I was not used to that. Maybe I was brought up like that. So I was more comfortable sitting with the men and discussing about what happened in office today, and that kind of a thing. It was more comfortable for me. So I went and sat there, and I had the shock of my life, because everybody were discussing. Nobody saw me on my eye. They kept discussing. So I was thinking like a young officer, just jumping in, trying to give my, so they said, yeah, okay. And then they'll continue. And I was like, okay. Then after some time, I thought maybe something stupid I had said. After some time, again I said something, and they're like, yeah, fine. And none of them looked at my eye. I was so upset. I was like, I couldn't bear my anger. I slowly, after that, I walked off, and I went to a senior officer. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not all of them. So this officer is also a male. So I went to him, I said, sir, I'm also an officer. Why am I treated any differently? Everybody are discussing, why am I to be undergo this? So he said, Jacinta, you had the misfortune of being the first lady officer here. So you need to, and only lady officer sitting there, so you need to prove your worth. Each of us, when we come up in life, we also have an additional burden of, we'll have to prove our worth, that yes, we are an equal, and we need to be accepted in the society, and we need to pull it on. When I was posted as the collector, that was my first collectorship, and I was posted in one of the most backward districts of Manipur. And first day of my office, I was sitting there, and then my peon comes and tells me, Madam, 3 old ladies are wanting to come and meet you. I said, they have taken appointment, or what do they want? Or they want any help or anything? He was saying, no, they're not saying anything. They said, we just want to meet the collector. So I said, okay, ask them to come inside. So they walked inside, 3 of them, 65, 70-year-old ladies, very old, not even able to walk, slowly, gently walking in. So I got up, I said, what do you want? Is there anything I can help you? They just came, looked at me like this. They said, no, we don't want anything from you. We came to the market today. Everybody was speaking. There is one lady who has come as a collector here. And this is the first time I've heard a lady has become a collector. So we just wanted to come in and bless you. You don't know what you're doing for the society. You don't know what you're doing for the girls here. So I was shocked that we don't understand. Each of us, each women achiever here has so many, knowingly or unknowingly, we have so many of us looking up to us. It's a huge burden. It's a very, very big burden we need to carry, but then it's a very pleasant burden. It's something which all of us need to pull on, and we will be able to do great things. So at the end, that's what I always used to think. This society, this is what has made me what I am. Each and every one of us has a role to play, to give back to this society. And as a woman, I had the opportunity to get to this level, not just because of women who helped me, because of the men also who helped me in this endeavor. And it is my responsibility to do my small bit. And if each one of us are able to get that into our mind, saying that each of us, it can be any kind of contribution, making your children come up, doing a small change in the society, be it family or be it the work, anywhere. If we are able to make a small difference, that will lead a long, long way in the gender equality, and history will always remember us. Thank you. It's a pleasure and honor to be with all of you.
That was a wonderful speech. Thank you, ma'am. We'd now like to invite Mr. V. N. Shivashankar, our beloved chairperson, Ms. Jacinta Lazarus, and Ms. Talbo Bare on stage to honor guests for today.
Now, we'll move on to introducing the guest of honor for today. Our first guest is one of the leading gynecologists in the city. Dr. Jayashree Gajaraj established a clinic in Ananagar East in 1980 and has gained a loyal clientele over the past few years. Is also frequently visited by several celebrities, aspiring models, and other honorable clients and international patients as well. The efficiency, dedication, precision, and compassion she offers ensures that the patient's well-being, comfort, and needs are kept a top priority. She completed MBBS, Diploma in Gynecology and Obstetrics, MD Obstetrics and Gynecology from the University of Madras, Chennai. She is also a member of the Indian Medical Association. Dr. Jayashree Gajaraj practices at Apollo Specialty Cancer Hospital and MGM Healthcare in Chennai. And now, like Dr. Jayashree to come forward stage and our beloved chairperson to honor Dr. Jayashree with the Outstanding Achievement Award for contribution towards women healthcare. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next guest is a Tamil orator who's famous for a comic discussion talk show named Patti Mandram, which is aired on Sun TV. She's a famous anchor for the daily talk show named as Vanga Pesalam on Sun TV. She completed her BTech in Chemical Engineering from Alagappa College of Technology, Chennai, and completed her post-graduation in Business Administration from Anna University before starting her anchoring career. She's also the Senior Vice President of Citibank, Chennai. Her love for public speaking stemmed from her school days and has been a popular public speaker for more than a decade. She loves to write stories and has written several short stories that were printed by the Tamil magazine Kalki. On top of this, she's also written many motivating articles in multiple magazines, including Dinamani. I'd now like to invite Ms. Bharti Bhaskar to be honored by a beloved chairperson with the Outstanding Achievement Award for contribution towards motivational speech. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next guest, Mrs. Ponni M. Concesio, did a B.Arch from National Institute of Technology, NIT Tirchi, and was the first undergraduate woman student admitted to NIT Tirchi. She later did a M.Arch in Cornell University and Advanced Professional Studies at Harvard University in 1992. She was conferred an honorary doctorate in modern architecture in 2008, Malaysia, and University of Milan for modern architecture and architectural science in 2014. She has worked with internationally renowned architectural firm Edward Lobby Barnes in New York City on several skyscrapers, university campuses, and stadiums before joining her husband in 1996, ushering an era of diverse award-winning projects from institutions, technology parks, apartments, shopping malls to hospitals, and many more. She mainly specializes in green buildings, eco-friendly and sustainable architecture. She has also built the RIT Green Block at Rajalakshmi Institute of Technology. She has more than 146 international, national, and state awards for architecture, interior designs, and has been widely published in design magazines and newspapers. Architect Ponni received the Distinguished Alumnus Award from National Institute of Technology for the Golden Jubilee celebrations from His Excellency, the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. She was recently awarded the Women's Icons of Asia 2019 in Singapore with along 11 women from Asian nations. Oscar and Ponni Architects is also involved in the Prime Minister's Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana project and built noon meal centers, toilet for underprivileged girl students, as well as leprosy-affected patient children. Dr. Ponni also has annual exhibitions for her paintings to raise leprosy eradication. Recently, Dr. Ponni was featured on the cover of Architecture Plus Design magazine, India's leading architecture magazine, for Women's Day. She also received the Champions of Change Telangana from Sri K.G. Balakrishnan, the former Chief Justice of India. I now like to call upon Mrs. Ponni to come to the stage and Mr. V.N. Shivashankar to honor her.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next guest is the one who provides you with a delicious meal while traveling 30,000 feet in the air to reach your destination. She started her ready-to-eat food business about a decade ago at the age of 69. Her brand, Triguni Foods, is now available on Indigo and AirAsia India flights, on Amazon and retail stores across the country, and in Singapore and Malaysia. While her current business came out of a love for cooking, she set up her first business of textile import in 1987 in Chennai to create more employment opportunities for women. When most people are thinking about retiring in their 60s, she, at the age of 69, switched gears and went from being a successful textile exporter to following her passion and starting a food business. We'd now like to invite Ms. Radha Daga and Ms. Lise Talbot Barret to honor her with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Our next guest is an experienced HR and recruiting lead with a demonstrated history of working in information technology and service industry. Mrs. Tendral Rajendran is skilled in stakeholder management, business process, service delivery, talent management, employee engagement, and business process improvement. She is currently the Vice President Talent Acquisition at CSS Corp, and before that worked in Sutherland and Accenture for 13 years, and also worked at Standard Chartered Bank. She did her bachelor's in sociology from Stella Maris College and has done a master's in business administration from the University of Madras. And now, uh, Ms. Jacinta Lazarus to honor our guest. Our next guest is the campus recruitment and training head for Cognizant Technological Solutions. She has been the business operations manager for 14 years, but found a passion to be a learning and development professional and is passionately grounded to this domain for the last 3 years. She has been shaping, learning, training, education and leadership development primarily in the IT industry. She has completed her bachelor's in mathematics in Vimala College, Thrissur, and completed a master's in computer programming and specific applications in Avinasha Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women. She has designed and implemented role-based capability building models for a 100,000 employee workforce and is keen in bringing a business mindset to talent capability development to bridge skill gaps. And now like our beloved chairperson to honor our guest.
Thank you, ma'am. In a field where men have dominated, Ms. Sonia Ramdas has defied every odds to become the woman she is today. She has a degree in microbiology and an MBA in marketing and advertising. She also owns a particular interest in classical dance and theater. She started a career with Zee Telefilms and had also worked with well-known media firms like Dainik Jagran, Radio Mirchi, and Star Vijay. She always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and after working in Star, she launched a media company, Kamadhenu Telefilms, which specializes in content creation for OTT platforms, while also telecasting musical concerts. This content journey of hers led to the acquisition of Sri Shankara TV, a TV channel that is one of the oldest and multilingual spiritual channels of India. Sri Shankara has a vision of upholding Indian culture and constantly strives to uphold our country's rich traditions and culture through our verticals. I would now like to invite Ms. Sonia Ramdas on stage to be honored by Ms. Lise Talbot-Barre with the Outstanding Achievement Award for contribution towards Digital Connect.
In today's world, being fit involves so much more than just exercise and diet. Dr. Shaini Surendran has excelled in her field, cementing herself as one of the leading dietitians in the city. Dr. Shaini is a nutritionist, lecturer, author, and an entrepreneur who aims to make sure that people understand that being healthy is nothing short of a lifestyle. She is an internationally acclaimed sports nutritionist and is the first Indian to be certified with graduate diploma in sports nutrition by the International Olympic Committee. She is a level 2 kinanthropometrist from Isaac, New Zealand, and is also an accredited sports dietitian from the Sports Dietitian Association, Australia. With a profound knowledge in the field of sports, she has helped hundreds of athletes globally, both elite players who have participated in top international championships, as well as young budding athletes optimizing their athletic performance. With her specializations in sports nutrition, preventive nutrition, kinanthropometry, nutrigenomics, I have helped high-profile athletes, celebrities from film industry, and several individuals with a wide range of nutrition-related health problems, including competitive and recreational athletes' obesity, PCOS, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, digestive disorders, and many more. I'd now like the Vice President, Mr. V.N. Shivashankar, and Ms. Jacinta Lazarus to honor our guest.
Thank you, ma'am. A moment lasts for seconds, but the memories last forever. Bearing that in mind, I would now like to invite all the guests on stage for the photo session.
We'd now like to call upon Dr. Jayashree Gajaraj for a theme talk.
Should I say good morning or good noon, I think? Very happy to be here and like to thank my good friend Thangam for inviting me and giving me this unique honor to be with all of you. Not just the achievers who came on the stage, but all the achievers sitting there in the auditorium today, and all the achievers who are out there at large. I think each and every person is an achiever, definitely. Some of us have the good fortune to come forward and receive this appreciation on a stage. Yes, we are truly blessed for this and to have good friends like Dr. Thangam. Thank you so much. This International Women's Day has actually been celebrated, if I could use that word, for quite a long time. But maybe in the past decade or a little more, it has gained a lot of impact, a lot of importance. And in the last few years, maybe 2021, the focus has shifted completely to gender equality. So 2020, they said equality for a change. 2021, they said choose to challenge. But they still did not achieve what they wanted. And this year, they got aggressive. They said break the bias. So that's why I think we're all here today. Break the bias sounds great, but we have to look more into what the message is being given to us. The theme as such by the United Nations is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Yes, they are focusing on climate change, which is ultimately going to impact a woman's life, a woman's contribution to her society. But we should also look at, in general, gender equality. So why are we all here today? Because we feel the need to come together, to discuss, to share our experiences, and not just go away home and say, I've attended a function, but because we all hope sincerely that there will be some impact, not just on our lives, but on the life of every woman out there. And that's the reason we're all here today. Not just to say that I'm great or people with me are great. That is not the purpose. So let us see in what way we have actually achieved. When you think of simple events, like day-to-day events, when I receive a phone call from an unknown number and I'm in a good mood to receive it, it says, "Sir, do you want a loan?" That gets my anger up. Why should it be a sir who will only take a loan? I just disconnect. 3 seconds later, the call comes back. "Sir, you just cut my line. Do you want a loan?" So this is the attitude. This is a woman who's talking, not a man. When I book my car for a service, it is never ever madam, it is always sir. Because a madam cannot own a car. A madam cannot send her car for servicing. So at Sundaram Motors, I think everybody knows my name now. They look up before they call me because they never say sir. I would have cut at least about 10 calls every time my car goes for a servicing. So I think all of us have to do this in our own ways. Why should we keep quiet when they say sir? Okay, I know that some people tell me your voice is a little, not too feminine. So I said, that's fine. My name is written there. Jayashree can never be a man. Okay? So this is how we start our daily lives. And I'm sure all of us encounter at least one phone call every day like this. moving to my own profession, the medical profession, I'm very happy to say that so long as I studied my undergraduation, post-graduation, and worked for a short while in India before I moved abroad to pursue my studies, I never felt any discrimination. That's something I must admit. Maybe because I was in a profession with very few men in it, a specialty with very few men in it. But in that same specialty, when I was applying for jobs in the UK, I faced gender discrimination. So not just because I was an Asian, I was an Indian, but when I started applying for higher level jobs, I was even told in a very British subtle way that I was not suitable because I was a woman. So this is something I would like to really, really say, that in India, as women doctors, we really don't face any discrimination. When I chose to do my post-graduation, obstetrics gynecology was not even on my list of things I wanted to do. I just drifted into it for several reasons. But when people who aspired to become a surgeon, no, a woman cannot become a surgeon. Super specialties, plastic surgery, ENT, vascular surgery, orthopedics, no way a woman can not enter that field. Even as obstetrician gynecologists, we are empowered by the public to deliver babies, but can we do surgery? Maybe not. Okay? They will sit with you, they will discuss everything about the surgery, and then at the end of it, they will say, Doctor, neenga da panvingala illa yaradu koopiduvingala? Okay, it takes a lot of effort to sit tight in your chair and not lose your temper. You know, I am a surgeon, why are they asking me this? But that is reality, that's how they ask you. So today when I go into the changing room in the operation theaters, I'm so happy to see so many young girls there. They're all doing their post-graduation to become specialty surgeons. They've all finished their basic post-graduation in surgery and they're all becoming surgeons. And I'm so, so happy when I see all of them. That age barrier goes. I'm one of them sitting, laughing, eating breakfast. It is something amazing because 30 years ago when I applied for my post-graduation, all that a woman could do was obstetrics, pediatrics, maybe general medicine. Even general medicine I was denied when I applied for my post-graduation. Okay, so that is the bias that we have faced, but I'm happy that we have just come a long, long way today. So that aside, when we talk of our theme for this year, gender equality, climate change, how is that going to impact a woman's life? I think climate change, because the resources, as we saw in that beautiful short movie, climate change is going to make a big dent on the resources, and lack of resources is definitely going to impact the woman in many ways, because even today, what is happening? Now you take a woman who is sitting at home, a homemaker, she runs her family. For her, her own nutrition, her own health is the least priority. She doesn't think about it at all. You will be surprised, and this can be across the socioeconomic groups. It is not just the lower socioeconomic group. Even women who are in their higher socioeconomic group, anemia is so, so common. I'm sure Shaini will agree with me. When we see a hemoglobin of 10, we don't bat our eyelid because that's not anemia as far as we are concerned. But if you go to the Western world, in our own patients who go from here halfway through their pregnancy, deliver abroad, they are told that they are anemic. Why was anemia ignored by your doctor? Why were you not treated? But as far as I am concerned, 10, 10.5 is great because normal hemoglobin is much, much lower. So why is this? Not because the woman cannot afford to eat, it's just not her priority. Whatever she has, she gives for her family. Is she feeling tired? Does she go to the doctor? No. She just keeps on and on and on. At some point, when she's forced, or fortunately nowadays we have these so-called health checkups which the sons take their mothers to because they are working in the IT industry, and then something is picked up at that point. Till then, she's been the mother who's working around, packing the tiffin box every day, waiting for the son or wife, husband to come home. So health priority is very, very important. We need to tell our women that it's extremely important. And I'm talking about educated women also who do this. So when we are, one more place where I find a lot of bias is, as Dr. Thangam was mentioning, when the baby is born, right? You know that we have a very strict PCP and DT Act which prohibits determination of sex in the antenatal period. And it's very, very strictly followed in each and every ultrasound clinic. So the, couples are upset that they cannot buy the clothes and they cannot do the children's bedroom. But when the child is born, if it is a first child, if it is a male child, then it's, oh, now it's okay. It doesn't matter, right? The first child is already a boy. If it's a second delivery and the first is a girl, there is palpable anxiety in the labor room because they want to know whether this is a boy or a girl. If it's a second delivery, first was a boy, then, it's very casual. It doesn't really matter. I'm okay with a girl, but if it's a boy, I'm very happy. So this is the scene, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, even maybe till yesterday. It's sad to see that. You get upset more than angry, because here is a beautiful child that's born, crying. It's so lovely to see that. That moment is something that we will not exchange for anything in the world. Okay, even though you are not the mother of that child, it's a wonderful moment when that child comes out. But when you see the mother turning away, it's actually very sad, because it's not the mother who is upset. She's trying to pretend to be upset because her in-laws are going to be upset. She can't even show her emotion of happiness at the birth of her child, irrespective of whether it's a boy or a girl. That is what saddens me. Because the minute the news goes out, there's gloom. Gloom descends when a girl is born, even today. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. So, when you think of all this put together, ultimately what is our aim? Our aim is to reduce what we call the maternal mortality rate. So maternal mortality rates, we have come a long way. When I was a student, we were talking of 450, 500, 600 per 100,000 deaths. But now when we are talking of something like 130, yes, some states in India still go up to 350, 400, but Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu are leading because they have cut down their maternal mortality rates in a very, very big way. And this is because of the beautiful nutrition schemes, the antenatal care for the mothers, which is given by our government, which I think goes a very long way in ensuring that the mother is healthy right through. So we have actually come a long way, and we will very soon go towards a single digit as far as our maternal mortality is concerned. I'd like to quote Muhammad Fatala, who once said, mothers are not dying in this world because of lack of facilities or lack of the technology or the access to technology, but because political will is not there to implement what can be implemented. This is an interpretation of his quote. So, but I think what we have achieved here is a beautiful implementation of what should be done for the mother, and we have really come a very long way. So I would like to actually say, I'm very, very happy that we are celebrating International Women's Day, but whatever policies the governments may bring forward, ultimately it's that individual woman who has to be empowered. Individual women have to be able to ascertain what their needs are, divide a meal, let everybody eat that meal. It need not be just the husband and the children in the family. So it's simple things like that. I'm sure every one of us can empower women around us, ensure that good health is there, because If there is good health, I think everything else automatically falls in place. And one place where good health makes an impact is the pregnant mother. The other end of the spectrum, we have now women living much, much longer than the menopause. We have a huge cohort of women in the postmenopausal period. So these women, again, are deficient in calcium, their bones are weak, they're more prone for osteoporosis and fractures. So this is a group, again, which we need to take care of much earlier. So across the spectrum, whether it's teenage girls, women in their reproductive age, or postmenopausal women, we need to empower them, talk to them, constantly talk to them, so that we can tell them what they need for themselves. I think that's the only way forward. And I really hope one day we will be celebrating every day as International Women's Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for that impactful speech. I would now like to call upon Ms. Bharti Bhaskar to deliver her acceptance speech.
எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். இந்த அஜெண்டா படி எனக்கு 1/2 ஹவர்னு போட்டிருக்கு. அவ்வளோ டைம் இருக்கா, இல்லை நான் கம்மியாக பேசணுமான்றதை முதல்ல சொல்லிடுங்க. ஏன்னா எங்கள் நடுவர் பெல் அடிச்சப்புறமே நாங்கள் ஒரு 10 நிமிஷம் பேசுவோம். ஸோ இஸ் தட் ஓகே? கேன் ஐ டேக் 1/2 ஹவர்? தேங்க்யூ. So respected Mr. V.N. Shivshankar, Thangam Madam, and the co-recipients of the awards today, my dear Jacinta Lazarus, Dr. Jayashri, who gave an excellent speech before my speech here. I have always heard her as in one-to-one conversations. To hear her on the stage was such a pleasure for me. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that. And the other recipients of the awards today, Dr. Ponni, Madam Radha, Tendral Rajendran, my good friend, Ms. Maya Shri Kumar, Ms. Sonia Ramdas, Ms. Shaini Surendra, and everybody else in the audience, thank you so much. இந்த விருதை எனக்கு கொடுத்ததுக்கு செக்கி அமைப்புக்கும் அதை சேர்ந்து அவர்களோடு இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியை வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கின்ற ராஜலக்ஷ்மி குழுமத்துக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றி. தமிழ் பேசலாமா? பரவாயில்லையா? புரியுமா எல்லாருக்கும்? சரி, ஓகே. ஏன்னா அவங்களும் கிளம்பிட்டாங்க, அதனால நம்ம இப்போ தமிழில் பேசலாம். அவங்க ஃப்ரான்ஸ்லேருந்து வந்த கவுன்சில் ஜெனரல். ஐ ஜஸ்ட் வாண்டட் டு ஸ்டே பேக் பிகாஸ் ஐ வாஸ் ட்ரைங் டு மேக் அ பாயிண்ட். அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, இந்தியாவில் தான் நீங்கள் விமன் பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் கூட இங்கே சாத்தியம், எங்கள் நாட்டில் இது மட்டும் அது சாத்தியமாக இல்லைன்னு சொன்னாங்க. அது ரொம்ப நல்ல பாயிண்ட் அது. ஏன்னா இந்தியாவில் வந்து முன்னாடியே விமன் பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர்ஸ் இருந்திருக்காங்க, இதுக்கு பிறகும் வரலாம். பங்களாதேஷில், ஸ்ரீலங்காவில், பாகிஸ்தானில் இங்கெல்லாம் வர்றதை விட இந்த 5 நாடுகள் யூஎனில் வீட்டோ பவர் வச்சுருக்காங்கல்ல, அமெரிக்கா, ரஷ்யா, ஃப்ரான்ஸு, யூகே, இந்த நாடுகளில் வந்து பெண் தலைவர்கள் வருவது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயம். சைனாவை விட்டுட்டேன், பார்த்தீங்களா எவ்வளோ முக்கியமான ஒரு நாடு. இந்த 5 நாடுகளில் ரஷ்யாவில் மாத்திரம் பியூட்டினோட இடத்துல இப்போ ஒரு பெண் அதிபர் இருந்திருந்தா இந்த தாக்குதல் இவ்வளவு எளிதாக நடந்திருக்கும்னு நீங்கள் நினைக்கிறீங்களா? இதை விவாதிக்கலாம். ஏன்னா 2 சைடும் பாயிண்ட்ஸ் இருக்கும். விமன் கேன் ஆல்சோ பி வெரி அக்ரெசிவ், வெரி டிமாண்டிங், and may have a tendency to go and annex some other countries. I'm not denying that. But Putinோட இடத்துல இன்னைக்கு ஒரு பெண் அதிபரா இருந்தா போய் அடி எவ்வளவு செத்தாலும் கவலை இல்லைன்ற மாதிரி சொல்ல மாட்டாங்கன்னு தான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன். அதனால சைனாலையும் ரஷ்யாவிலையும் அமெரிக்காவிலையும் டு பிகின் வித் விமன் லீடர்ஸ் இருந்தா this world would be a much better place to live, especially with peace அப்படின்றது என்னுடைய தனிப்பட்ட கருத்து. அதை கேட்குறதுக்கு அவங்க இருந்திருக்கணும்னு நினச்சேன். எனிவே கிளம்பிட்டாங்க, சொல்லிவிடுங்க அவங்களுக்கு அப்புறமா. இது ஒரு நல்ல தருணம். விருது கொடுத்ததற்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி. எந்த விருதுகளும் நாம் போகிற பாதையில் இன்னும் வேகமாகவும் இன்னும் சிறப்பாகவும் போவதற்கு நமக்கு உதவி செய்யும். அந்த விதத்தில் என்னை தேர்ந்தெடுத்ததற்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி. என்னை விட முக்கியமாக சில பேர் இங்கே விருது வாங்கியிருக்காங்க. அவங்க எல்லாருக்கும் என்னுடைய பாராட்டுகளை நான் மனப்பூர்வமாக தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். தென்றல் எனக்கு அவங்க அப்பா மூலமாக தெரியும், பட் ஐ நோ த கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஒர்க் தட் ஷீ இஸ் டூயிங். அதே மாதிரி மாயா மேடம், சோனியா, அவங்க ஷைனி, டாக்டர் பொன்னி, இவங்க டாக்டரை பற்றி நான் ஏற்கனவே சொல்லிட்டேன். அவங்க எனக்கே டாக்டர் அவங்க. அதனால் ரொம்ப இந்த டிஸ்டிங்விஷ் கம்பெனியில் விருது வாங்குவது என்பதும் எனக்கு மிகுந்த மகிழ்ச்சியை கொடுத்தது. பட் இவர்களை பற்றி பேசுவதற்கு முன்னாடி என்னுடைய பெரியத்துக்குரிய ஜெசிந்தா இன்னைக்கு பேசின பேச்சு தான் இந்த மேடையில் நாம் நினைவிலே கொள்ள வேண்டிய ஒரு பேச்சு அப்படின்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். அவங்க ஆரம்பிக்கிற போது சொன்னாங்க, பாரதி பேசுகிற மேடையில் போய் நீ என்ன பேச போறன்னு அவங்க அம்மா சொன்னதை கேட்டாங்க. அது ஒன்றும் பெரிய விஷயம் இல்லை, ஏன்னா நான் தொழில்முறை பேச்சாளர். நான் இப்படி பேசலைன்னா தான் பிரச்சனை அது. ஆனால் நீங்கள் தொழில்முறை பேச்சாளர் அல்ல, ஆனால் இதை விட மகத்தான வேலைகளை நீங்கள் செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. நீங்கள் மணிப்பூரை பற்றி இன்னைக்கு சொன்னது இங்கே எல்லாருக்கும் பாடம். ஸோ ஐ வுட் லைக் டு புட் இட் திஸ் வே. அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னு அவங்க எல்லாருக்கும் ஞாபகம் இருக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா முதல்ல போன உடனே கிடைக்கிற இம்ப்ரெஷன் என்ன, wow, this is damn good. இங்கே விமன் ஒன்லி மார்க்கெட்ஸ் வச்சுருக்காங்க. இங்கே பெண்களுக்கு டௌரியே கிடையாதான். அவங்கள திருமணம் பண்ணிக்கணும்னா பசங்க தான் காசு கொடுத்து அவங்கள கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கணுமா. இதெல்லாம் வெளித்தோற்றம். ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கு. கொஞ்சம் உள்ளே போனால் அப்புறமா சொல்கிறாங்க, இங்கே இருக்கிற பஞ்சாயத்தில் இப்போ ஐயோ பஞ்சாயத்தில் பொம்பளைகள்லாம் உட்காந்து வைக்க முடியுமாங்க. இங்கே பாருங்கள், எந்த ஒரு தமிழ் சினிமாலையும் நாட்டாமன்னு ஒரு ஆணை தானே காமிச்சிருக்காங்க. அதுக்கு துப்புறதுக்கு ஒரு ஜாடியோட ஒருத்தர் இருப்பார். நாட்டாம தீர்ப்பை மாற்று எப்போவாது நம்ம பார்த்துருக்கோமா? கிடையாது. இது 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 மேலே தெரியாது. அதுதான் அவங்க சொன்னாங்க. தட்ஸ் வாட் ஐ லைக் அபவுட் ஹர் ஸ்பீச். வெளித்தோற்றத்தில் இது கிடையாது, கொஞ்சம் இது உள்ள போனோம். ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் வாட் வி நீட் டு பி கான்ஷியஸ் அபவுட். இஸ் தேர் பயஸ்? எஸ், தேர் இஸ் பயஸ். அண்ட் த பயஸ்லேயே ரெண்டு இருக்கு. தெர் இஸ் கான்ஷியஸ் பயஸ் அண்ட் தெர் இஸ் அன்கான்ஷியஸ் பயஸ். கான்ஷியஸ் பயஸ்ன்றது ரொம்ப வெளிப்படையாக தெரியும் நமக்கு. அவங்க டாக்டர் ஜெயஸ்ரீ சொன்ன மாதிரி அவங்க ஒரு 10 வருஷம் முன்னாடியோ 20 வருஷம் முன்னாடியோ, ஏன் டாக்டர் நீங்களே சர்ஜரி பண்ண போறீங்க, யாராவது ஆம்பளை டாக்டர் கூட வருவாங்களான்னு நேரடியாக கேட்டிருப்பாங்க. நேரடியாக முகத்துக்கு நேரம் கேட்டிருப்பாங்க. திஸ் இஸ் கான்ஷியஸாக அவங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டே தான் இது கேட்குறாங்க. கான்ஷியஸ் பயஸ் இன்னும் இருக்கான்னா தாராளமாக இருக்கு. ஆமாம், நாம ஏமாத்திக்க கூடாது. அதெல்லாம் இல்லைங்க. என்ன சில பேருக்கு விமன்ஸ் டே கொண்டாடுறோன்னா சில ஆண்கள் கோவம் வருது. இன்னும் என்னதான் வேணும் உங்களுக்குன்றாங்க. ஒரு ஆள் சொல்றாரு, என் ஏடிஎம் கார்டே எங்க வீட்டை மட்டும் தான் இருக்கு, பின்ன வேற மாத்திட்டா, என்னதான் உங்களுக்கு வேணும்? இன்னும் ஃபைனான்ஸ் மினிஸ்டரா இருக்கீங்க, அந்த அம்மா பார்லிமெண்ட்ல எப்பவுமே அவங்க தான் பேசுறாங்க, என்னதான் வேணும் உங்களுக்கு என்று சொல்லுகிறார்கள். நமக்கு கூட நம்பரா போல தான் இருக்கு. சொல்றது நியாயம் தானே என்றால், இஸ் தேர் பயஸ்? ஆஃப் கோர்ஸ் தேர் இஸ் பயஸ். நான் முந்தா நாள் மதுரையில் இருக்கிற ஒரு கல்லூரிக்கு வர்ச்சுவலாக அவங்க விமன்ஸ் டேக்காக பேசினேன். பேசி முடித்த உடனே ஒரு பெண் எனக்கு ஒரு கேள்வி இருக்குன்னாங்க. இந்த சில சமயம் கேள்விகள் கேட்கப்படுகிற போது என்ன பிரச்சனைனா, ரொம்ப நேரம் அவங்க கேள்வி கேட்பாங்க. நமக்கு பதில் சொல்லும்போது என்ன கேள்வி கேட்டாங்கன்னே மறந்து போயிடும். நீளமாக ஷார்ட்டாக கேளுப்பா அப்படின்னு நான் சொன்னேன் அந்த பெண்கிட்ட. இல்லை மேடம், கேள்வி கூட இல்லை, எனக்கு ஒன்று சொல்லணும். நாங்கள் சரிப்பா சொல்லு. நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க, ஏன்னா நான் என்னுடைய உடல்நல குறைவு ஏற்பட்டது, டாக்டருக்கு அந்த டீட்டெயில்ஸ் நல்லா தெரியும். உடல்நல குறைவு ஏற்பட்ட பிறகு திரும்பவும் நான் வந்துட்டேன்னு சொல்லு, திரும்ப வந்துட்டேன்னு சொல்லுன்னு கபாலில் ரஜினி சொன்ன மாதிரி சொல்லிட்டு மேடைகளுக்கு நான் வர ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டேன். திரும்ப ஆஃபீஸ்க்கு போக ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டேன். திரும்ப என் புத்தகம் ஒன்று வெளிவந்திருக்கு, அதை பற்றி தான் சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தேன். ஸோ எப்போ தோல்வினா, நீ பாதியில் விட்டுட்டா தான் தோல்வி. நீ ஜெயிக்கிறியா தோற்கிறியான்றது எப்போ முடிவாகிறது என்றால், டிட் யூ ஃபினிஷ் யுவர் ரேஸ், அதில் தான் முடிவாகிறது. எனக்கு முன்னாடியே 3 பேர் போயிட்டாங்க, எனக்கு மெடல் கிடைக்காதுன்னா பரவாயில்ல, நீ ரேஸை முடிச்சிரு, அதுவே வெற்றி. இதுதான் நான் அன்னைக்கு பேசினேன். அந்த பெண்ணு சொன்னாங்க, நீங்கள் சொன்னது எனக்கு ரொம்ப புதுசாக இருந்தது. ஏன்னா நான் +2 முடித்தோடனே எங்கள் வீட்டில் என்னை கட்டி கொடுத்துடணும்னு சொன்னாங்க. ரொம்ப போராடி எங்கள் அம்மா தான் என்னை காலேஜில் சேர்த்தாங்க. ஐம் டாக்கிங் அபவுட் லைக் டே பிஃபோர் எஸ்டர்டே மை டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். 10 வருஷம் 20 வருஷம் முன்னாடி கதையெல்லாம் நான் சொல்லலை. அண்ட் ஐம் நாட் டாக்கிங் அபவுட் அ ரிமோட் வில்லேஜ் இன் பீகார் அன்ஹர்ட் ஆஃப்லாம் கிடையாது. இங்கே நம்ம மதுரையில் தான். எங்கள் +2 முடித்தோடனே கட்டி கொடுத்துடணும்னு ரொம்ப வீட்டில் சொன்னாங்க. உறவுக்கார வேற யாரோ ஒரு உறவு இருக்காங்க, அவங்கள கல்யாணம் செஞ்சு கொடுக்கணும்னு. எங்கள் அம்மா தான் வந்து போராடி காலேஜில் சேர்த்தே தீருவேன்னு சொல்லி எல்லாரோடையும் சண்டை போட்டு எங்களை சேர்த்தாங்க. நான் உடனே நடுவில் இன்டர் பண்ணி உங்கள் அம்மா எவ்வளோ படிச்சிருக்காங்க? எங்கள் அம்மா படித்ததே கிடையாது, ஸ்கூலுக்கே போனது கிடையாது எங்கள் அம்மா. ஆனால் பள்ளிக்கே போகாத ஒரு தாய் தன்னுடைய மகள் கல்லூரியில் சேர்க்கணும்னு இந்த போராட்டத்தை நம்மளாலாம் கற்பனையாவது செய்ய முடியுமா? நாம் அப்படியே ஜல்லுன்னு அந்த 4 லேன் டிராஃபிக்கில் போய் ஹோண்டா சிட்டியில் வந்து இறங்குறோம். நம்மெல்லாம் இந்த போராட்டத்தை நம்மளால் கற்பனையாவது செஞ்சு பார்க்க முடியுமா? அந்த ஒரு அம்மா அது படிக்கல, அது ஒரு பேப்பரை கொடுத்தா அதுக்கு படிக்க தெரியாது. அந்த அம்மா வந்து சொல்லுது என் பொண்ணு படிச்சே ஆகணும். காலேஜில் சேர்த்துட்டாங்க. ஆனால் ரொம்ப கலவரம் பண்ணி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இயருக்குள்ளே கல்யாணம் பண்ணி வச்சுட்டாங்க. அந்த கல்யாணத்தை நடத்திட்டாங்க. அதுக்கு பிறகு ஒரு வருஷத்துக்குள்ளே அந்த குழந்தையும் பிறந்துருச்சு. அது போட சொல்லுது நாசமாக போகிற காலேஜெல்லாம் மூடிட்டாங்களே கொரோனாலால். நான் எப்படி மேடம் ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் அட்டன் பண்ணுவேன்? ஒரு ஃபோன் தான் இருக்குது, எங்கள் வீட்டுக்காரரோட ஃபோன் தான் அது வந்து நான் அதில் தான் கிளாஸ் அட்டன் பண்ணுறேன். அவருக்கு ஏதாவது ஃபோன் வந்து அவர் பரிச்சுக்கு போயிடுறாரு. அதை பிள்ளை அழுதா எங்கள் மாமியார் இவ இனிமேல் படித்து என்னத்தை கிழிக்க போகிற, பிள்ளைய கவனிக்கிறத விட்டுட்டு என்ன படிப்பு இவளுக்குன்னு எங்கள் மாமியார் சொல்கிறாங்க. இத்தனைக்கும் நடுவில் தான் மேடம் நான் படித்தேன். ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் நினைப்பேன் இன்னையோட படிப்பை விட்டுடலாம், இன்னையோட படிப்பை விட்டுடலாம், இன்னையோட படிப்பை விட்டுடலான்னு ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் நினைப்பேன். ஆனால் ஒரே ஒரு விஷயத்துக்காக தான் நான் தொடர்ந்து படிச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன். எங்கள் அம்மா ஆசைப்பட்டுட்டாலே வேற வழி இல்லையேன்னு ஒரே ஒரு காரணத்துக்காக இப்போ நான் வந்துட்டேன். மார்ச் மட்டும் வந்துட்டேன் மேடம். மே வந்தால் எனக்கு பரீட்சை முடிஞ்சிடும், நான் கிராஜுவேட் ஆகிடுவேன். அதனால் பாதியில் விடக்கூடாதுன்னு நீங்கள் சொன்னது எனக்கு ஒரு புத்துணர்ச்சியை கொடுக்குது. நான் சொன்னேன்மா, விமென்ஸ் டேல யாருக்கா அவார்டு கொடுக்கணும்னா உனக்கு தான்ப்பா கொடுக்கணும், உன்னை விட முக்கியமாக உங்கள் அம்மாவுக்கு கொடுக்கணும். கொஞ்சம் நல்லா கைதட்டுங்க, பரவாயில்ல. ஏன்னா அந்த பொண்ணு இங்கே இல்லை. பட் ஐ திங்க் திஸ் இஸ் த ஸ்பிரிட் தட் வி ஹேவ் டு செலிப்ரேட். 8th மார்ச் அன்னைக்கு காலையில் 5:30 மணிக்கு நான் எழுந்தேன். 5:30 மணிக்கெலாம் நான் எழுந்திருக்க மாட்டேன் பொதுவாக, என்னவோ கழுத அன்றைக்கி தூக்கம் வரல. எந்திரிச்சு கதவை திறந்த உடனே எங்கள் வீட்டுக்கு பால் பாக்கெட் போடுற ஒரு அம்மா, அந்த அம்மா பேர் குப்பம்மா. அவங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப வயசாயிருச்சு. எங்கள் வீட்டில் லிஃப்ட் கிடையாது, படியில் தான் ஏறணும். அந்த படி ஏறி வந்து அந்த பால் பாக்கெட்டை வச்சுட்டு இந்த இந்த இப்படி பிடிச்சிட்டு தான் அந்த அம்மாவால் நடக்க முடியும். அப்படியே பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு படியில் எனக்கு என்னவோ தோணுச்சு, குப்பம்மா அப்படின்னு கூப்பிட்டேன். என்னம்மா அப்படின்னு. மகளிர் தின வாழ்த்துக்கள் அப்படின்னா என்னது, எப்படி நான் புரிய வைக்கிறதுன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. நான் பேச்சாளர் தான், எழுத்தாளர் தான், என்னன்னு சொல்லி புரிய வைக்கிறது மகளிர் தினம்னா என்னன்னு சொல்லி. பட் ஐ தாட் மகளிர் தினத்தை அவங்க தான் செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுறாங்க என்னை விட. இல்லை, இவ்வளோ வயசுல உடம்பு முடியல, நடக்க சக்தி இல்லை, இப்போ கூட இன்னொருத்தர் காலில் நான் நிற்க மாட்டேன், என் காலிலேயே தான் நான் நிற்பேன்னு ஒரு பெண்ணு நிற்கிறாள். அதுதான் மகளிர் தினத்தினுடைய ஸ்பிரிட். நம்ம கொண்டாட வேண்டியது அதைத்தான். நல்ல சாதனையாளர்கள் என்று மற்றவர்களுக்காக நாங்கள் இங்கே சில விருதுகளை வாங்கி கொண்டிருக்கிறோமே தவிர நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க, நிறைய பேர். அதுனா என்னன்னே தெரியாம சாதனைகளை செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறவர்கள். இதுதான் சாதனையா அப்படின்னாக்கா புரியாம ஆனா அதை செய்கிறவர்கள். The spirit of saying that I will be on my own, who are you to take decisions for me என்று கேட்கிற விஷயம்தான் மகளிர் தினத்தில் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயம்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். இங்க ஆண்களும் இருக்கீங்க ஓரளவு, வாழ்த்துக்கள். ஏன்னா நான் ஒரு 2-3 வருஷம் முன்னாடி ஒரு இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜில் என்னை விமென்ஸ் டேக்காக பண்ணுறேன். ரொம்ப பெரிய காலேஜ் அது. அதில் நான் போன பெரிய ஆடிட்டோரியம் வச்சுருக்காங்க. உள்ள 15 கதவு இருக்குது. எல்லா ஆடிட்டோரியமும் இழுத்து பூட்டி உள்ள ரகசிய கூட்டம் மாதிரி விமென்ஸ் டே நடத்திட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஏங்க எல்லா கதையும் போட்டிருக்கீங்க, பாய்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்துடக்கூடாது இல்லை அப்படின்றாங்க. ஏங்க பாய்ஸ் தாங்க வரணும், பாய்ஸ் வர்ற இடம் இல்லைன்னா கொஞ்சம் கேர்ள்ஸை வெளியில் அனுப்பிச்சிருங்க, பாய்ஸ் தான் வரணும். அது விமென்ஸ் டேக்கு பாய்ஸ் எப்படி வரணும்னா அந்த மைக் செட் போடுறவர் மாத்திரம்தான் ஒரே ஒரு ஆள் இருக்கார். எவ்வளோ பயமா இருக்கும் அவருக்கு, யோசிச்சு பாருங்க. ஒரே ஒரு ஆள் நிற்கிறார். அது கூட இந்த விஸ்காம்ல இருக்கா, அதனால இப்போ ஃபோட்டோ கூட பெண்களே தான் எடுக்கிறாங்க. மைக் போடுறவர் மாத்திரம் இன்னும் மாற்றலை. நான் சொன்னேன் இடம் இல்லைன்னா சில பேர் அனுப்பிச்சிட்டு பாய்ஸை கூப்பிடுங்க. அப்படி செய்யக்கூடாதுங்க, விமென்ஸ் டே தானே. நான் சொன்னேன் விமென்ஸ் டேல என்ன பேச போறீங்க, இல்லை பெண்கள் எவ்வளோ சிறந்தவர்கள், அதான் எங்களுக்கு ஏற்கனவே தெரியுமே. கேர்ள்ஸுக்கு அது ஏற்கனவே தெரியும், பாய்ஸுக்கு தான் தெரியாது. அவங்கள உள்ள கூப்பிடுங்க, அவங்கள்ட்ட தான் சொல்ல வேண்டி இருக்கு இந்த விஷயத்த. அல்ல மகளிர் தினம் என்பது ரோஜா பூ குடிக்கிறீங்க ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சி. அப்புறம் சில ஆஃபீஸில் கேக்கெல்லாம் வெட்டுறாங்களாம், அதுவும் ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சி. அப்புறம் உடனே நம்ம என்ன க்ளோ க்ரீமா இப்போ பேரை மாற்றிட்டாங்க, ஃபேர்னஸ் க்ரீம் சொல்லக்கூடாது, ஆனால் அதே கழுதை தான் அது, பேர் மாத்திரம் மாற்றிருக்காங்க. க்ளோ க்ரீம்லாம் இருக்குல்ல, அதுக்கெல்லாம் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் கொடுப்பாங்க. இன்றைக்கி போய் எங்கேயாவது வாங்கி பாருங்கள், பெண்கள் வந்து வாங்கினா அதுக்கெல்லாம் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் இன்னைக்கு கொடுப்பாங்க. நண்பர்களே, இது எதுவுமே மகளிர் தினமே கிடையாது. இதில் வியாபாரத்துக்கான ஒரு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி, அவ்வளோதான். மகளிர் தினம் என்பது டிஸ்கவுண்ட் கொடுக்கறது, மிட்டாய் கொடுக்கறது. சில ஆஃபீஸில் எல்லாரும் இன்னைக்கு பிங்க் சாரி கட்டிட்டு வருவாங்கன்னு பேசிப்பாங்க, உடனே சேர்ந்து ஒரு ஃபோட்டோ எடுத்துப்பாங்க. ஐம் சாரி டு சே, இதெல்லாம் ஒன்றுமே ஒரு செலிப்ரேஷனும் கிடையாது. மகளிர் தினம் என்பது முதல்ல கொண்டாட்ட தினமே கிடையாது. நீங்கள் உடனே லவ்வர்ஸ் டே மாதிரி நினச்சிக்கிட்டு பலூன்லாம் வாங்கி தயவு செஞ்சு பண்ணிடாதீங்க. நல்லவேளைங்க அதெல்லாம் செய்யலை. இது லவ்வர்ஸ் டே மாதிரி, ஃபாதர்ஸ் மதர்ஸ் டே மாதிரி. திஸ் இஸ் நாட் அ செலிப்ரேஷன் டே, திஸ் இஸ் அன் அப்சர்வன்ஸ் டே. அனுசரிப்பு தினம்னு தமிழில் சொல்லுவோம். அனுசரிப்பு தினம். என்ன அனுசரிக்கிறீங்க நீங்கள் இன்னைக்கு அப்படின்னா, நாம் இன்னைக்கு ரொம்ப நல்ல பொசிஷனில் இருக்கோம். இப்போ இங்கே இருக்கிற எல்லாருக்கும் நான் கேட்குறேன், உங்களுக்கு ஒரு மகள் இருக்கா, அவள் +2 படிக்கிறான்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். உங்ககிட்ட வந்து கேட்குறா, அப்பா அல்லது அம்மா, நான் வந்து மேலே படிக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன், நான் வந்து ஐஐடிக்கு அப்ளை பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன், இல்லை ஏதாவது ஒரு பெரிய கல்லூரிக்கு அப்ளை நீங்கள் என்ன சொல்லுங்க? படிடா படிடா, எவ்வளோ வேணா படுறா, நீ நான் இருக்கேன்டா, நீ எவ்வளோ வேணா படி ராஜா, இப்படி தானே நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் நம்ம மகள்களை. ஆனால் இந்தியா முழுக்க இருக்கிற எல்லா மகள்களுக்கும் இந்த மாதிரிலாம் யாரும் சொல்கிறதில்ல. நம்ம we are a very advantaged lot. பெரிய சிட்டியில் இருக்கோம், மெட்ரோவில் இருக்கோம், ஓரளவு வசதியோடு இருக்கோம். நாம் நமக்குள்ளே கொண்டாடி கொள்ளுவதுன்னு நம்ம நினைக்கக்கூடாது. திஸ் இஸ் அன் அப்சர்வன்ஸ் டே. சரி, நான் உங்ககிட்ட கேட்குறேன், ஒரு கல்லூரி நிறுவனத்தினுடைய சார்பில் இது நடத்தப்படுவதனால இட்ஸ் அ ரெலவெண்ட் கொஸ்டின். முதல்ல நம்முடைய தமிழ்நாடு, அப்போ தமிழ்நாடுன்னே பேர் கிடையாது, மெட்ராஸ் பிரசிடென்சி. மெட்ராஸ் பிரசிடென்சி தான் முதல்ல பேர் இந்த நிலத்துக்கு. மெட்ராஸ் பிரசிடென்சியில் முதல் கிராஜுவேட்டாக யார் ஆனாங்க? பெண். இந்த வருஷம் என்றால் இட்ஸ் வெரி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங். ஏன்னா நம்முடைய தேசத்தில் ஆண்கள் 2000 வருஷமா படிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க. 2000 வருஷமா ஆண்கள் படிக்கிறாங்க. பெண்கள் எவ்வளோ நாளாக படிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க? படிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னா ஐ மீன் ஃபார்மல் எஜுகேஷன். ஒரு இடத்துக்கு வீட்டிலேயே படிச்சிருக்கலாம் ஒரு வேளை. ஃபார்மல் எஜுகேஷன் எப்போ? 1934 சகோதரி சுப்புலக்ஷ்மி என்கிறவர் மெட்ராஸ் பிரசிடென்சியில் BA டிகிரி வாங்கினார். அதில் என்ன சுவாரஸ்யம்னா, அடுத்த நாள் சுதேசமித்ரன், த ஹிந்து எல்லாத்துலேயும் முதல் பேஜில் இது ஒரு செய்தியாக வந்தது, உமன் கெட்ஸ் BA டிகிரி. இது ஒரு செய்தி. இதில் என்னங்க செய்தி இருக்குன்னா, அவதான் முதல் பொண்ணு வாங்கியிருக்காங்க. அவங்க பால்ய விதவை. பால்ய விதவைன்னா என்னன்னு தெரியுமா? இங்கே இருக்கிற சின்ன பிள்ளைகளுக்குலாம் தெரியாது. பால்ய விதவைன்னா என்னன்னாக்க, பிறந்த உடனே 2 வயசு 3 வயசுல கல்யாணம் பண்ணி வச்சிருவாங்க. அப்பெல்லாம் அப்படிதான் திருமணங்கள் நடந்து கொண்டு இருந்தது. 2 வயசு குழந்தைக்கு கல்யாணம், 5 வயசு குழந்தைக்கு கல்யாணம், 7 வயசு குழந்தைக்கு கல்யாணம். 10 வயசு மட்டும் குழந்தைக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆகலைன்னா அப்பா அம்மாக்கள் ரொம்ப ஒரிட் ஆயிடுவாங்க. ஐயோ 10 வயசு ஆச்சு இன்னும் பொண்ணுக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆகலைன்னு. இன்னைக்கு ஒரு 30-32 வயசு தாண்டும் போது அதே மாதிரி கவலைப்படுறாங்க இல்லையா? அன்னைக்கு அது 10 வயசுலயே அந்த கவலை வந்துடும். ஸோ வயசு தான் மாறி இருக்கே தவிர கவலை மாறல. அதை மனசுல வச்சுக்கோங்க. வயசு மாறி இருக்கு, கவலை மாறல. 2 வயசு 3 வயசுலயே அவங்களுக்கு கல்யாணம் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. சகோதரி சுப்பலட்சுமிக்கு அந்த கல்யாணம் பண்ணின அந்த அவனும் குழந்தை தானேப்பா, அவனுக்கு ஒரு 10 வயசு 12 வயசு இருக்கும். அந்த பிள்ளை செத்து போயிருச்சு. அப்ப இவங்க என்ன ஆறாங்க? பால்ய விதவை. இந்த பால்ய விதவைனா கூட விதவைகளுக்கான நார்ம்ஸ்லேருந்து அவங்களுக்கு எக்ஸம்ஷன்லாம் கிடையாது. எதிரில் வரக்கூடாது. கல்யாணம் நடக்கும்போது மறைஞ்சிருந்து வீட்டில் தங்கைக்கு கல்யாணம் நடக்குதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், நேரில் வரக்கூடாது. பக்கத்தில் ஒளிஞ்சிருந்து ஜன்னல்ல இருந்து அப்படிதான் பார்க்கலாம். போய் ஆற்றில் குளிச்சுட்டு வரணும்னாக்க எல்லாரும் வந்து குளிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி இவங்க போய் குளிச்சுட்டு திரும்ப எதிரில் வந்தால் சகுன தடை, மோசமான சகுனம், எதிரில் வரக்கூடாது. இப்படிதான் இருந்தாங்க. இவங்களுடைய சுப்பலட்சுமியோட அப்பாவுக்கு திடீர்னு தோணிச்சு, இவ என்ன செய்ய போற, இப்பதான் 5 வயசு ஆகுது, அதுக்குள்ளேயே விதவைனா இதுல அன்பார்ச்சுனேட்லி தே வில் லிவ் மச் லாங்கர். அன்பார்ச்சுனேட்லி ஆர் ஃபார்ச்சுனேட்லி ஒரு 80-90 வயசு மட்டும் கட்டாயம் வாழ்வாங்க அவங்க. என்ன பண்ண போறா ஃபார் த ரெஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஹர் லைஃப்? எப்பவுமே ஒளிஞ்சிருந்து, எப்பவுமே எதிரில் வராம, எப்பவுமே மறைவில் நின்று, எப்பவுமே ஒருவேளை சாப்பிட்டு, இப்படியே இன்னும் ஒரு 80 வருஷம் இவ வாழ போறாளான்னு அவங்க அப்பாவுக்கு ஒரு கேள்வி வந்திருக்கு. உடனே கொண்டு போய் ஸ்கூல்ல சேர்த்துட்டாரு. எல்லாரும் கொதிச்சு கொந்தளிச்சாங்க, விதவை போய் ஸ்கூல்ல சேர்க்கலாமான்னு. அப்புறம் ஸ்கூல் ஃபைனல் முடிச்சிட்டாங்க, ஏன்னா படிப்பு வந்தது, நல்லா படிச்சுட்டாங்க. காலேஜில் கொண்டு போய் சேர்த்துட்டாங்க. எந்த காலேஜ்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க? பிரசிடென்சி காலேஜ். இதோ நம்ம பிரசிடென்சி காலேஜில் கொண்டு போய் சேர்த்துட்டாரு. அதில் இப்போ நமக்கு இந்த குழந்தைகளுக்கெல்லாம் அடுத்து என்ன படிக்கணும்னு ஒரு சந்தேகம் வருதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். ஹவு மச் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் தே ஹேவ் டு கன்சல்ட் வித் பீப்புள். தே கேன் செக் வித் தர் சீனியர்ஸ். கூகுளில் பார்க்கலாம், எஜுகேஷன் அட்வைசரி கவுன்சிலர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. அவங்க என்ன படிக்கணும்னு யாரை போய் கேட்டிருக்க முடியும்? நல்ல மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸில் போய் சேர்ந்துட்டாங்க. மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸ் சார் என்ன பண்ணுவாரா, இவங்க கையிலேருந்து நோட்டை வாங்கி திருத்த மாட்டாராம். ஏன்னா விதவைட்டேந்து ஒன்று வாங்கினா சகுனத்தடை, அவங்க கையிலேருந்து எதையும் வாங்கக்கூடாது. அதனால டீச்சர் கரெக்டே பண்ண மாட்டாங்களாம். அப்புறம் இதுவே சொந்தமாக ஒரு முடிவு எடுத்திருக்கு, கணக்கெல்லாம் நமக்கு கஷ்டம், நம்ம போய் சரித்திரம் படிக்கலாம்னு சொல்லி பிஏ ஹிஸ்ட்ரிக்கு மாற்றிருக்காங்க. தானே போய் மாற்றி பிஏ ஹிஸ்ட்ரியை அந்த அம்மா படித்து முடிச்சிருக்கு. இந்த தமிழ் நிலத்தினுடைய முதல் கிராஜுவேட் அவங்க தான். இதில் இதை போய் இவ்வளோ டீட்டெயில்டாக சொல்கிறீங்களா? அப்படித்தான் இருக்கும். இப்போ நானே இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜில் சேர்ந்த போது, இங்கே தான் நான் இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் சேர்ந்த போதுனா அது கல் தோன்றி மண் தோன்ற காலத்துலலாம் இல்லை, பக்கத்தில் தானே. ஏசி காலேஜ் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜி, அழகப்பா கல்லூரின்னு இவங்க சொன்னாங்க, அது கரெக்ட் இல்லை. அண்ணா யூனிவர்சிட்டியில் ஏசி காலேஜ் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜியில் தான் நான் பிடெக் கெமிக்கல் இன்ஜினியரிங் படித்தேன். முதல் நாள் நான் வந்து கேர்ள்ஸ் ஸ்கூலில் தான் படிச்சிருக்கேன் ஃபுல்லாகவே. எங்கள் ஸ்கூல்லலாம் ஐஸ் வைக்கிற ஆளை தவிர வேறு ஆண்களே இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஐஸ் வைக்கிறவர் மட்டும்தான் ஒரு ஆண் இருப்பார். இப்படியே கேர்ள்ஸ் ஸ்கூல்லேயே படிச்சுட்டு இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜுக்கு முதல் நாள் போன போது வி வேர் கிளாஸ் ஆஃப் 56. அதில் 55 பாய்ஸும் நான் ஒரே ஒரு பெண்ணும் தான் இருந்தேன். திஸ் இஸ் ஆஸ் ரீசெண்ட் as 30 years பேக். அப்போ மேடம் இங்கே பேசுகிறப்போ சொன்னாங்க, மெக்கானிக்கல் இன்ஜினியரிங் ஃபேக்கல்ட்டியில் வந்து பெண்கள் படிக்க முடியாதுன்னு இருந்தால் நீங்கள் வேறு இதை கிடையாது. இப்போ மெக்கானிக்கல் இன்ஜினியரிங் போய் பாருங்கள், பாய்ஸோட கேர்ள்ஸ் தான் உட்காந்துருக்கு. நான் ஐ வென்ட் டு அ கம்பெனி கால் கேட்டர்பில்லர் டே பிஃபோர் எஸ்டர்டே, விமென்ஸ் டேக்காக போயிருந்தேன். கேட்டர்பில்லரில் வந்து ஷாப் ஃப்ளோரில் பெண்கள் இருக்காங்க, ஷாப் ஃப்ளோரில் இருக்காங்க. இப்போ டாக்டர் சொன்ன மாதிரி எனக்கு பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் கிடைச்ச போது சென்னையை சுற்றி இருக்கிற ஒரு கெமிக்கல் ஃபேக்ட்ரியில் தான் எனக்கு பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் கிடைச்சிது. பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் கிடைச்சா எவ்வளோ பெரிய மகிழ்ச்சி இல்லை. போனாக்க பாய்ஸ் தான் ஷாப் ஃப்ளோரில் இருப்பாங்க, கேர்ள்ஸ் R&Dயில் தான் இருக்கணும். நாங்கள் R&Dக்கும் எனக்கு சம்மந்தமே கிடையாது. எனக்கு 7 பேரோட பேசலைன்னு தலையை வெடிச்சிடும். தட் இஸ் நாட் மை ஃபேக்கல்ட்டி. R&Dக்குன்னு சில ஜீவன்களை கடவுள் படைத்து வைத்திருக்கிறார். அவங்க பாட்டு கம்ப்யூட்டர் உட்காந்து அவங்க பாட்டு இருப்பாங்க. நான் அது கிடையாது. சொன்னால் ஷாப் ஃப்ளோரில் நீங்கள் கொடுக்குறீங்களா, நான் திரும்ப படிக்க போகிறேன்னு சொல்லி அப்படி தான் நான் MBAக்கு வந்தேன். ஸோ இப்போ இது நடந்திருக்கலாம் என்றால் இந்த பயணம் ரொம்ப முக்கியமானது. அதுக்காக தான் இதை நான் சொல்ல வரேன். ஏன் அப்சர்வன்ஸ் டேன்னு சொல்கிறோன்னா, நமக்கு முன்னாடி நிறைய பேர் கஷ்டப்பட்டுருக்காங்க, அதனால தான் நாம் இந்த நிலையில் இருக்கோம். அவர்களை நினைத்து பார்க்க வேண்டிய நாள் இது. யாரை நினைத்து பார்ப்பது? நீங்கள் சுப்புலட்சுமியை சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க, டாக்டர் முத்துலட்சுமி ரெட்டியை பற்றி எல்லா இடத்துலையும் பேசுவாங்க, டாக்டர் தாரா இருக்காங்க, நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. இவங்களெல்லாம் நினச்சி பார்க்கணுமானே வேண்டாம், அவசியம் இல்லை. அவர்களை ஏற்கனவே நாம் நினைத்து கொண்டு தான் இருக்கிறோம். நீங்கள் யாரை நினச்சி பார்க்கணும் நான் சொல்கிறேன், அதோட நான் என்னுடைய பேச்சை முடித்து கொள்ளலாம்னு பார்க்குறேன். நீங்கள் யாரை நினச்சி பார்க்கணுன்னா, உங்கள் ரெஸ்பெக்டிவ் ஃபேமிலிஸில் முதலாக படித்த பெண் யார் என்று கேட்டு பாருங்கள். இப்போ நான் பார்த்த அந்த மதுரை காலேஜ் பொண்ணுல முதலாக கல்லூரிக்கு போனது அந்த பொண்ணு தான். அதுக்கு 19 வயசு தான் ஆகுது அதுக்கு. பட் உங்க ஃபேமிலியில முதல்ல யாருமா படிச்ச? நான் தான். இப்போ நம்ம ஃபேமிலிஸ்ல முதல்ல படிச்ச பெண் யாரு தெரியுமா நமக்கு? எங்க குடும்பத்துல எங்க அம்மா தான் முதல்ல படிச்சாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு அக்கா எல்லாம் இருந்தாங்க, ஆனா அவங்களெல்லாம் படிக்க வைக்கவே இல்லை. எங்க அம்மா வந்து நல்லா படிச்சாங்கன்றதுனால லேடிஸ் சிவசாமி ஐயர் ஸ்கூல்ல அந்த 11ஆம் வகுப்பு ஏதோ படிச்சுட்டு குயின் மேரிஸ் காலேஜில் போய் இன்டர்மீடியட்னு சேர்ந்தாங்க. இப்போ நம்ம +1 +2 அப்போ காலேஜில் தான் இருக்கும், இன்டர்மீடியட்னு அதுக்கு பேர். அங்கே போய் இன்டர்மீடியட்டில் சேர்ந்தாங்க. அதை முடித்தோடனே எங்கள் தாத்தா அவங்க படிப்பை நிறுத்திட்டாங்க. எதனால் நிறுத்தினாங்க? அதே காரணம்தான். இதை விட படித்த மாப்பிள்ளை எப்படி தேடுவது? எங்கள் அப்பா தான் வெயிட்டிங்கில் இருக்காரு ஏற்கனவே. இதை விட படித்த மாப்பிள்ளையை எப்படி தேடுவது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி படிப்பை நிறுத்திட்டாரு. எங்கள் அம்மா என்ன பண்ணாங்க? Of course she accepted. What choice did anyone have? படிக்க வைக்க மாட்டேன்னா படிக்கக்கூடாது, அவ்வளோதான். அப்போ குயின் மேரிஸ் காலேஜ்லேருந்து ஃபிசிக்ஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்லேருந்து ஒரு லெக்சரர், அவங்க பேரை தான் நான் தேடிட்டு இருக்கேன். இப்போ எங்கள் அம்மாவும் உயிரோடு இல்லை, அதனால் அந்த பேர் எனக்கு கிடைக்க மாட்டேங்குது. அந்த ஃபிசிக்ஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்லேருந்து ஒரு லெக்சரர் வந்து வீட்டுக்கு மயிலாப்பூரில் எங்கள் தாத்தாவை சந்தித்து, எங்கள் அம்மா பேர் கற்பகம், கற்பகம் எவ்வளோ நல்லா படிக்கிறேன், ஏன் பாதியில் படிப்பை நிறுத்திட்டீங்கன்னா, எங்கள் தாத்தாவுக்கு முதல்ல வந்து டென்ஷன். ஏன்னா பெண்கள் அவரோட நின்று பேசியே அவருக்கு பழக்கம் இல்லை. ஒரு பெண் வந்து நின்னா எப்படி பேசணும்னு அவங்களுக்கு அப்பெல்லாம் தெரியாது. சரி சரி அப்படின்ட்டாரு. அதுக்கப்புறம் அது என்னன்னு யாரோ வந்து சொல்றாங்க, போய் படிச்சு தொல்லன்னு எங்க அம்மாவை படிக்க வச்சாங்க. அப்படிதான் மயிலாப்பூர் வீட்டிலிருந்து குயின் மேரிஸ் காலேஜ் மட்டும் தினம் நடந்து போய் படிச்சு பிஎஸ்சி பிசிக்ஸும் எம்எஸ்சி பிசிக்ஸும். அப்ப பிஎஸ்சின்ற டிகிரியே கிடையாது, பிஏஎம்ஏ தான். அப்போ பிஏ ஆனர்ஸ்னு சொல்லுவாங்க அந்த காலத்துல. அதுக்கு ஈக்குவலன்ட் டு எம்எஸ்சி. எம்எஸ்சி பிசிக்ஸ்ல சென்னை மாகாணத்தில் கோல்டு மெடலிஸ்டா எங்க அம்மா வந்து தேர்ச்சி பெற்றார்கள். இது என்ன ஒரு விஷயமா? எத்தனை பேர் கோல்டு மெடல் வாங்குறாங்க, எவ்வளோ பாய்ஸ் வாங்குறாங்க, இது ஒரு விஷயமானா இது ஒரு விஷயம். ஏன்? எங்க அம்மா படிச்சப்புறம் எங்க குடும்பத்தில் இருக்கிற மற்ற கேர்ள்ஸுக்கு சாய்ஸே கிடையாது, அவங்க படிச்சே ஆகணும். ஒரு பெண்ணு படிச்சுட்டா அடுத்த ஒரு பெண்ணை படிக்க வைக்க மாட்டேன்னு சொல்றதுக்கு அவென்யூஸே கிடையாது. ஏன் அந்த குடும்பத்தில் அப்புறம் ஒரு பையன் கூட படிக்காம இருக்கக்கூடாது. ஒரு பையன் படிக்கலன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, ஏய் கல்பகமே படிச்சுட்டா உனக்கு என்ன கேடு, ஓடு காலேஜுக்கு. அதனால்தான் மக்களே, ஒரு பெண் படிப்பது ஏன் ரொம்ப சமுதாயத்துக்கு முக்கியம்னா, அவள் படித்தால் அவளுக்கு பிறகு அந்த குடும்பமே படிக்கும். அதனால்தான் அது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். இது எல்லாருக்கும் கிடைக்கிறதா என்றால், let's not be in some imaginary world thinking everybody has this luxury. No, not at all. இதில் இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியில் எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச விஷயம், நீங்கள் அதை கிளைமேட் சேஞ்சஸோட லிங்க் பண்ணீங்க. வெளிப்பார்வைக்கு தோன்றும் என்னங்க இது மொட்டை தலைக்கு முழங்காலையும் இவங்க மூழ்கி போடுறாங்க, பெண் விடுதலைன்னா பெண் விடுதலை, கிளைமேட் ப்ராப்ளம்னா கிளைமேட் ப்ராப்ளம், ரெண்டுத்தையும் ஏன் லிங்க் பண்ண? ரொம்ப டீப்லி லிங்க்டு இது. முத்துலிங்கம் என்று ஒரு தமிழ் எழுத்தாளர் இருக்கிறார். நீங்கள் ஒருவேளை இதுவரை அவரை படிக்கவில்லை என்றால் நான் ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ராங்காக சிபாரிசு செய்கிற எழுத்தாளர். ஏன்னா உங்களுக்கு அவ்வளோ தூரம் தமிழில் படித்து பழக்கம் இல்லைன்னா கூட முத்துலிங்கத்திலேருந்து ஆரம்பிக்கலாம், அது ஒரு பெரிய வாசலை உங்களுக்கு திறந்து கொடுக்கும். முத்துலிங்கம் வந்து யூஎன்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. அவர் ஒரு சார்ட்டர்ட் அக்கௌண்டன்ட், ஈழத்தமிழர். அவர் உலகத்தின் பல நாடுகளில் வேலை செய்திருக்கிறார். சியாரோ லியன் என்கின்ற ஆப்பிரிக்காவில் இருக்கிற ஒரு நாட்டில் அவர் வேலை செஞ்சிருக்கார். சியாரோ லியனை பற்றி கூகுள் பண்ணி பாருங்க, ஒன் ஆஃப் த புவரஸ்ட் கண்ட்ரீஸ் இன் த வேர்ல்ட். அங்கே போய் அவர் வேலை செஞ்சிருக்காரு. அங்கே நடந்த ஒரு சம்பவத்தை ஒரு கட்டுரையாக எழுதியிருக்கிறார். அவர் ரொம்ப தள்ளி டீப் இன்சைட் ஆப்பிரிக்காவில் ஒரு நாடு அது. அந்த நாட்டில் வந்து ஒரு வீட்டுக்கு போகிறாரு. அந்த வீட்டில் ஒரு பெண் இருக்கா. அந்த பெண்ணுக்கு திருமணம் அப்போ நிச்சயம் இருக்கிறதா அந்த பெண்ணுடைய அப்பா சொல்கிறாரு. ஒரு 16-17 வயசு பொண்ணு, அவளுக்கு திருமணம் நிச்சயம் இருக்கு. ஆப்பிரிக்கன் சொசைட்டிஸ்லேயே மேரேஜ்ன்றது அவ்வளோ முக்கியம் கிடையாது. ஒவ்வொரு சமூகமும் ஒவ்வொரு மாதிரி தானே இருக்கும். ஆப்பிரிக்கன் சொசைட்டியில் திருமணம் என்பது அவ்வளோ பெரிய விஷயம் கிடையாது. ஆனால் இந்த பெண்ணுக்கு திருமணம் நிச்சயம் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அந்த பெண் அப்படி சந்தோஷமா இருக்கா, குதிக்கிறா, பாடிட்டே வேலை செய்கிறா, பெருக்கிக்கிறா, பாடுறா, ஆடுறா, அந்த ஆப்பிரிக்கன் டான்ஸ் ஆடுறா. அவ்வளோ சந்தோஷமா ஒரு பெண் இருக்காள். அவங்க அப்பா எதுக்கோ உள்ளே போனோடனே இவர் அந்த பெண்ணை கூப்பிட்டு, என்ன இவ்வளோ சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு, எனக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆக போகுது. கல்யாணம் ஆக போகிறதுன்னா இவ்வளோ சந்தோஷமா இருப்பியா? அப்படியா? மாப்பிள்ளை என்ன பண்ணுறாரு? அவரு பஸ் வச்சிருக்காரு. எங்கே இருக்காரு? ஏதோ ஒரு ஊர் சொல்கிறா, அது கொஞ்சம் பெரிய ஊர், அந்த ஊரில் இருக்காரு. அப்படியா? மாப்பிள்ளைக்கு என்ன வயசு? 70 வயசு. 70 வயசு ஆளை கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்க 16 வயசு பொண்ணு குதிக்க வேற குதிக்கிறாளான்னு இவருக்கு பக்குங்குது. என்னம்மா 70 வயசுன்னு நான் சொன்னேன். ஆமா 70 வயசு. 70 வயசு ஆளை எப்படி கல்யாணம்? ஏற்கனவே தான் அவர் கல்யாணம் ஆயிருக்கேங்கிறா. ஏற்கனவே கல்யாணம், நீ 70 வயசு ஆளை கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கு நீ இவ்வளவு சந்தோஷமா எப்படி இருக்கன்னா? அவ சொன்ன காரணம் இந்த மேடைக்கு ரொம்ப முக்கியமானது. அவ என்ன சொல்றா, இங்க நான் தண்ணி எடுக்கிறதுக்கு தினம் 20 கிலோமீட்டர் நடக்கிறேன், அவர் வீட்டில் குழாயிலேயே தண்ணி வருமான்னு சொல்றாரு. வாட் a reason to get married, isn't it? 20 கிலோமீட்டர் தண்ணி எடுக்க போறேன், அவர் வீட்டில் குழாயிலேயே தண்ணி கொட்டுமா? அப்படின்னா என்னன்னே அவளுக்கு தெரியாது. குழாயில தண்ணி கொட்டுறதுன்னா என்னன்னே அவளுக்கு தெரியாது. பட் அவ்வளவு அவ்வளவு மகிழ்ச்சி. 70 வயசு ஆள சந்தோஷமா போய் கல்யாணம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கா. So this is why a change in climate directly and indirectly affects the life of a woman in a remote place. சகோதரிகளே, ஏன் பெண்களின் தினத்தை அனுசரிப்பு தினம் என்று நான் சொன்னாலும் அது கொண்டாடப்பட வேண்டிய ஒரு விஷயம். ஏனென்றால் நாம மேலே வந்த பிறகு இன்னமும் நிறைய பேர் கீழே இருக்காங்க, நம்ம முதல்ல குனிஞ்சு பார்க்கணும். நான் வந்து சென்னையில் திருவான்மியூர் பகுதியில் இருந்தேன். இட்ஸ் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் அப். சென்னையில் திருவான்மியூர் பகுதியில் இருந்தேன்னா எங்கள் ஊரில் வந்து பயங்கர விசித்திரமான ஒரு பஸ் அப்பெல்லாம் இருக்கும். 19 அந்த பஸ்ஸோடைய நம்பர். அந்த பஸ் அப்பெல்லாம் நான் சொல்கிறது ஒரு 20-25 இயர்ஸ் முன்னாடி பஸ்ஸுக்கு பின் சீட்டே இருக்காது. மீன் கூட வைக்கிறதுக்கான கேரியர் தான் இருக்கும். ஏன்னா ஃபிஷர் விமன் தான் அந்த பஸ்ஸில் நிறைய வருவாங்க. அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு பஸ்ஸு. அந்த பஸ்ஸில் நான் அடிக்கடி பார்க்கிற காட்சி என்னென்னா, பஸ்ஸு ஃபுல்லாக பேக்டாக இருக்கும். அவ்வளோ பேக்டாக இருக்கும். நாம் வந்து ஓடி போய் அதில் தொத்தி ஏறணும். அண்ணா கொஞ்சம் தள்ளுண்ணா, அண்ணா ஒரு கால் வச்சுக்கிறேண்ணா, கொஞ்சம் நவுறுண்ணா இப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஒரு காலை வச்சிருவான் அவன். அப்புறம் ஐயா என்னங்கய்யா, ஐயா ஒரு காலோட வரையா, கொஞ்சம் நகருங்கய்யா, இன்னொரு கால் வைக்கிறேயா, இன்னொரு காலையும் வச்சிருவான். இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் பஸ்ஸு போனோன்னா கொஞ்சம் உள்ளே போந்து உள்ளே வந்துடுவான். அங்கே பார்த்து இன்னும் நல்லா புஷ் பண்ணி உள்ளே வந்தால் ஜன்னல் பக்கத்துலேயே அவனுக்கு சீட் கிடச்சிரும். அப்பா அப்படின்னு சௌரியமாக உட்காருவான். கண்டக்டர் அடுத்த ஸ்டாப்புக்கு வந்து விசில் கொடுக்கும்போது இதே ஆள் சொல்லுவான், என்னையா ஏற்கனவே எவ்வளோ கூட்டமாக இருக்குது, டபுள் விசில் கொடுத்துன்னு போயினே இருப்பியா, நீ ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்டாப்லையும் நிற்கிறேனே, உனக்கு ஒருத்தன் நிறுத்தினதுனால தானடா நீ உள்ளே ஏறின. மகளிர் தினமும் இதுவும் ஒன்று. நாம் ஏறின பிறகு மற்றவங்களுக்கு பஸ்ஸு நிற்காமல் போகணும்னு நம்ம நினைக்கக்கூடாது. மகளிர் தினம் என்பது என்னவென்றால் அவர்களையும் கை தூக்கி விடுவது. அந்த பஸ்ஸில் நடந்த ஒரு சம்பவம், நான் பள்ளி மாணவியாக இருக்கேன், அந்த நானாக உட்காந்துருக்கேன். இன்னொரு ஸ்கூல் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டை ஒருத்தன் வந்து உரசுறான், அபாசமாக உரசுறான். பஸ்ஸில் இருக்கிற எல்லாரும் அதை பார்க்குறாங்க. அவன் நல்ல தண்ணியில் இருக்கான், பார்க்கவே வந்து நல்ல அந்த டிப்பிக்கல் தாதா ஸ்டைலில் இருக்கான். அதனால யாருமே வந்து பார்க்காத மாதிரியே, அவங்க அப்போ ஃபோன் கிடையாது, ஆனால் பார்க்காத மாதிரியே எல்லாம் நம்ம பாவனை பண்ணுவோம்ல, சிச்சி இது என் கல்ல படவே இல்லை அப்படின்னு எல்லாரும் வெளியில் பார்த்துக்கிட்டே இருக்காங்க. ஆனால் அந்த பின்னால் கூடைய வச்சுட்டு இருந்த ஒரு ஃபிஷர் உமன் கண்ணில் அது பட்டுச்சு. எவன்டா அவன் அந்த பிள்ளைய மேலே கையை வச்சவன், வெளியில் வந்தேன்னா இப்போ கெட்ட வார்த்தையில் சொன்னான், அதில் இந்த மேடல் நான் சொல்ல முடியாது, எல்லா கெட்ட வார்த்தையும் சொல்லி வாயில் வெத்தலை பாக்கு போட்டுக்க வச்சிருவேன், நெஞ்சில் இருக்கிற மஞ்சா சோறை எடுத்துருவேன், எவன்டா அவன் கை வச்சுது. எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமா இருந்தது. எந்த பெண்ணுமே சண்டை போடல, இவன் மாத்திரம் எப்படி சண்டை போடுறான்? ஏனென்றால் அவளுக்கு இழப்பதற்கு எதுவுமே இல்லை. அதனால அவ இறங்கி நியாயத்தை கேட்பா. நமக்கு இழப்பதற்கு நிறைய இருக்கிறது. இருந்தாலும் மகளிர் தினம் என்னவென்றால் நாமும் நியாயத்தை கேட்க வேண்டும். மற்றவர்களுக்கான நியாயத்தை கேட்பதற்கான ஒரு வாய்ப்பாகத்தான் மகளிர் தினத்தை நாம் பார்க்க வேண்டும். நிறைய கவுன்சிலர்ஸ் வந்திருக்காங்க, மகளிர் இருக்காங்க, ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சி. ஒரே ஒரு சின்ன வருத்தம் என்னன்னா, சில பேருக்கு ஃபோன் பண்ணால் அவங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் ஃபோன் எடுத்து சொல்லுங்கன்றாரு. கவுன்சிலர் அம்மா இருக்காங்களா, கவுன்சிலர் இருக்காங்களா, கவுன்சிலர் தான் பேசுகிறேன் சொல்லுங்க. ஏய் நீ கவுன்சிலர் இல்லைப்பா, உன் ஒய்ஃப் தான்ப்பா கவுன்சிலர். இதற்காக வகுக்கப்பட்டதில்லை அந்த பதவிகள். நீங்களே கவுன்சிலராக இருக்கணும். உங்களுக்கு பின்னாலிலேருந்து ஒருத்தர் சொல்லி கொடுத்து பேட்டி கொடுக்க கூடாது, நீங்களே பேசணும். இந்த எம்பவர்மெண்ட் அந்த லெவல்ல வந்தாதான் கிராஸ் ரூட் லெவல்ல வரும். நம்முடைய கடமை என்னவென்றால், we can be inspirational to so many women. ஒன்னாலே முடியுண்டா, கீழே விழுந்துட்டியா, பரவாயில்ல, ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை, என் கையை பிடிச்சிக்கோ, நான் உன்னை கொஞ்சம் தூரம் கூட்டிகிட்டு போகிறேன், அப்புறம் நான் கையை விட்டுருவேன், நீயே போ என்று பெண்களுக்கு சொல்ல வேண்டிய ஒரு தினம். அடுத்த முறை விருது கொடுக்கிற போது ஒரு சின்ன ரிக்வெஸ்ட் உங்களுக்கு, இத்தனை பெண்களுக்கு கொடுக்கிறார் போல இந்த பெண்களுக்கு அப்படி கையை பிடித்து, நீ போ நான் கூட வரேன், கொஞ்ச நேரம் கழிச்சு கையை விட்டுரு, அப்புறம் நீயே போகணும் என்று சொல்லுகிற ஆண் ஒருவருக்கும் சேர்த்து இந்த விருது வழங்கப்பட வேண்டும் என்று நான் நினைக்கின்றேன். உங்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்கள். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, ma'am, for your amazing speech. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Ponni M. Concesio for her acceptance speech. Ma'am, please.
Good afternoon to all the dignitaries of the dais, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear brothers and sisters. It's been so inspiring to listen to the speeches of the dignitaries ahead of me, before me rather, and I don't know how much of an impact I can really make. But on the outset, I would like to thank Rajalakshmi institutions and the Southern India Chamber of Commerce, especially Chairperson Dr. Thangam Meghanathan and members of the jury for having selected me for this very, very prestigious award. I'm most privileged and honored to accept it. I would like to congratulate all my fellow awardees who have been honored and recognized as exceptional agents of change. As you all know, change is the order of the universe and the only constant factor of recorded history. The 21st century is not only known as the space age, but also the era of women as decision makers in all forms of human enterprise. Young women today have taken for granted the freedom to make choices. But this freedom came with so many centuries of challenges, struggles, and sacrifice. Speaking for myself, my journey began in Church Park Convent and then moved on to the National Institute of Technology in Tiruchi. Here is where the turning point in my life occurred. Even though I had an admit card in my hand, I was refused an admission in India's premier engineering institution just because I was a girl. So after a very protracted legal struggle, a lot of very hot debates with the principal of the institute, I was finally admitted into NIT Trichy. And mind you, on my first day of college, I had to face 3,000 male students and a very hostile male academic environment. But as luck would have it, I bloomed in NIT Trichy, traveled on to the United States, where I studied in very prestigious Ivy League institutions such as Cornell University and Harvard University. Later on, I was also lucky to work with one of America's premier international architectural firm of Edward Barnes John Lee, where I was exposed to global business and gender equity in a Western culture. Following my nation-building dreams, I returned back to India with my husband, architect Oscar, and founded Oscar and Ponni Architects. As a firm, we have created strong, sustainable architectural footprints by way of projects from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, as well as abroad. Today, we are fortunate to design the largest government building in India today, the 1 million square feet Telangana State Secretariat, which is being designed and built along sustainability and Indian heritage architecture. I'm also lucky to be designing the Gaganyaan Space Center for the Indian Space Research Organization in Sriharikota under the auspices of the Prime Minister's office, the concept based on the Shiv Tandav. Back in Tamil Nadu, we are also designing the Kalaignar Karunanidhi's museum, library, and convention center in Tirvarur. I have had many role models in my life. Of course, the first of them being Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. She was a Prime Minister at that point in time when I was in Church Park. The second was Mother Teresa, who said that it's very important. She promoted women's empowerment, but she always said that it's important for a lady to be a good family member first. Never neglect your family obligations before being a strong career woman. My third role model is a very famous French economist called Christine Lagarde. I don't know how many of you know her, but she was a French finance minister and later on the chief of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And what she said made a lot of sense to me. She said that a GDP of a nation would increase if more and more women join the labor force and workforce and be equal decision makers of society. Now that's very important. Case in point being the G7 nations of our global community. Empowering women by education, the right to personal and professional choice makes good economic sense. Gender equity and enlightened women build strong nations. But that means we need more women in positions of power and authority, especially in the fields of politics, business, institution, and bureaucracy. India has offered us women great opportunities, and I feel I have been fortunate to be born in one of the oldest civilizations in this world, one of the biggest democracies that have had women prime ministers, presidents, chief ministers, and ministers. This is a rare, rare occurrence. You don't find this in Western countries. Our country, despite being a patriarchal society, has fostered empowerment of women to a very large extent, and this is growing in leaps and bounds. However, much needs to be done in women's empowerment in rural India. I don't know how many of you have worked in rural India, but the scenario is not that great as it is in urban India. Climate change and COVID have been twin challenges and have impacted the life of women, especially the poorest of poor. When we talk about women's empowerment, I think most of us forget that the lives of women in the poorest of poor sector of society is still very, very miserable. We have fantastic laws passed in Parliament where a lot of us talk about women's empowerment, but that doesn't really filter down to the poorest of poor. And this is one segment of society that we need to look at very, very closely. On a positive note, COVID has showcased the participation of women scientists and healthcare workers whose innovation and activism has changed the world forever. Today, we women make up for half the population, and yet we are underrepresented in Parliament. Men make up for most of the decision making for us. I think this should change. This must change, and it is also in our hands to change. My advice to women, especially young women, is to remain passionate, persevering, and pursue their goals with discipline, devotion, and dedication. Please, please reject social conditioning. Never listen to people who say, you're a girl, so you have to do this. You're a girl, so please get married fast. And this is a man's role. It's not a woman's role. So please, please reject social conditioning and live up to your dreams. I, of course, believe in God and country. I have a dream of an India that will be a strong global power in terms of leadership in all spheres. I have a dream of India where every woman in every nook and corner of India will be strong, independent individuals who will be the true nation builders of a great country such as ours. God bless India, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. Now, let us have a few words from Ms. Radha Daga.
Mrs. Thangam, and the distinguished guest, my heartfelt thanks for the honor bestowed on me. As I can see, it is my age of starting a new venture which has been noticed in a very positive manner, and that also being a woman. I feel age is all in mind. A passion and dream can be realized regardless of age. A clear mind, a physical good health, are all very important to take challenges at any age. By divine grace, I can say I'm blessed. Getting into food was a silent dream, a desire in my subconscious mind, not having enough finance to get into business at a young age, and the responsibility of bringing up children made it difficult to start a business when I was younger. Moreover, I feel a woman, when she wants to work, she has to make sure that her home runs properly. She will be in the office, but if not having their own work in the housework in a proper manner, she doesn't achieve what she wants to achieve. So when I feel her responsibilities are taken care, that's the best time for a woman to take challenges in life, whatever her passion might be. And that was another reason that I just wanted to take time to do something, though all the time I had a desire for self-expression. So my journey started with a job in a travel agency as a sales consultant. That was a job where I went around 10 o'clock and I was home at 1:30 to be there when my children came back from school and spend time with them. This was my first experience to work. It exposed me to customer service, money management, where my remuneration was on timely collection within 30 days of the sales generated by me. I also understood people management, which was most important for a smooth operation. So these were my groundwork when I learned over a period of time. After a few years, there was a great desire for self-expression. This led me to my first venture of social work, giving employment to uneducated women. My workshop started by employing women from a very poor background. It was a very challenging experience to discipline them in work, toilet training, teamwork, and quality hygiene, etc. I must acknowledge I learned the whole trade of making quality shirts by doing job work for exporters with assurance not a single reject piece in my dispatch to them. Later, the same commitment was given to my overseas buyers, foolproof shipment with not a single reject piece. With pride, I can say I lived with my commitment. I must say that, and it was all women trained by me. In the social work also, I had all women, maybe at that time 4 or 5 men as supervisors or master tailors or something like that. But later on, when I was in the garment business, I got into export and I was making very, very high quality shirts. 75% were all women from a very poor background. But I must say, they were dedicated, very ready to listen, very ready to prove that they were doing quality work, very ready to accept teamwork. So that was really, I could see the commitment. And often, the faces were smiling. You see, in those days when I started this garment export, my husband was in Delhi and we shifted to Delhi from Chennai. I used to travel twice a month between Delhi and Chennai. And so many times, my friends used to say, and everybody used to say, why are you doing that? But I had started as a social work and I was very attached to the ladies who were working with me. And I'll be sitting in the factory and I'll look at that smiling faces and something inside used to say, can't you just do that? Look at the smile there. Look at them blooming. And that's what you carried me on for 10 years doing up and down between Delhi, Madras. And finally, when we shifted back to Madras. So I was exporting high quality shirts for Italian buyers for brands like Beretta, Robe di Capa, Boji. This export started in 1995. And we had gone to Delhi in 1901. Yeah, until 2001, I was in Delhi. After a very successful journey, one wonders what made me take this plunge into a fire once again. And also I must tell you one thing, when I started my social work, it was actually, when I got into the garment export, it was actually a jump in the fire because in the beginning, I went from bank to bank, looking for finance, to run, my first export with a LC in my hand But actually, I didn't want to give a single personal collateral because I didn't want my family to be into any uncomfortable position just because of my passion. So I said that, look, I have an LC, and I mean, it's an irrevocable LC, and I need finance for that. And it was a very depressing because my husband being a top executive, and he would tell me, go to this bank and go to that bank. It was like jute ghisna, you just go from door to door. And I was feeling very disappointed. And that's the day this Italian buyer was visiting my factory in the afternoon. So I went in the afternoon and in the factory, and I saw what he did was he opened the boxes which had the shirts ready to go. And I saw him inspecting, he saw everything. And then later on, when I went down to drop him in the car, you know what he told me? Mrs. Daga, this is the first time from a new supplier I'm getting a good shipment. Ask your people to do exactly what they are doing. By then, I had already seen what all he was noticing. So I told my people, open up all the cartons, reverse the shirts, remove all the thread. Just understand that is what is not exactly. And they did that. And I have never looked back after that export, So, I mean, that is what it is. The quality really speaks if you want to do anything. So, my desire to get into food became so strong that initially I wanted to make high quality marmalade and jams till one of my industrial friends gave me gyan that one needs deep pockets to create a bread, to make a customer pick up a product which was already available on the shelves, The project was dumped into dustbin immediately. I had savings from my garment export, but to that extent that I could carry on for 10 years for a brand to establish. The mind wanted to create something new, such as I decided to go into making kapo idli. So I hired a chef, converted a room in my factory on the same floor for R&D. Chef worked with me under my guidance. When I could not establish a foolproof product, since out of 100 idlis, there were few which will not rehydrate properly. So I just dumped that idli product immediately. By then, I had established a process where cooked food could be rehydrated. I asked the chef to make lemon rice using the same process. It worked and came out with full aroma, taste, freshness just by adding boiling water. Next was biryani, which was amazing. We immediately got focus group study done, and we found the product was accepted. Started the process of buying machinery, hiring technical management staff with food qualification. Initially, the product was packed in a paper tub. It just so happened that the tub supplier sent our biryani tub to Indigo to show them that new machine from China could print as well while making a paper tub. Indigo in 2012 had no supply of hot food on flights, hence they were very excited to read that by adding boiling water, biryani can get made in 8 minutes. They called us up on 19th of March 2012 for samples. Biryani was on the flight on 14th April 2012, within 3 weeks. Upma was developed for Aurovilians since they had spice issue in our products. On first trial itself, Upma was absolutely delicious. Hence, besides sending to Auroville, I decided to send few samples to Indigo. They took no time to approve and my destiny changed. The customer on flights were delighted and compliments like best Upma that they have ever eaten started pouring. Instead of now I'll tell you another story of my journey. Instead of setting up a new factory, I decided to close my garment factory and convert into food. Did not want to take challenge of a new factory with no experience in marketing and taking huge debt burden at my age, That was the age issue. See, I mean, everybody, when they saw my product and they ate, they wanted to invest into my factory. I said, I don't mind, I will take your money if you become my marketing partner. Because I had no experience in marketing. Now, taking a huge debt at setting up a factory and producing in volumes and not being able to market, it's a food. It's not an industrial product that I could keep in my shelf and sell it whenever I want to sell. It's a shelf life study also. So I decided not to set up a factory. The garment factories on multi-level, it took 1.5 years to renovate for a proper flow system for smooth operation because it was on multi-level. My journey has been a roller coaster ride. When we got ready for volumes for the first shock was demonetization. The capacity created could not be used because at that time there was a money crunch and people didn't want to waste money. The overheads were very high. After a while, we got back on track. GST came with a very high tax of 18%. So that was again. Once again, we were on track. COVID pandemic brought first lockdown, a very challenging time to take care of workers and staff. However, my inner strength to fight the odds with full faith in my product kept me going to get back again on track. We worked on training staff to achieve FSSC certification with a very positive attitude, worked on improvements on existing products, created few new products to meet market prices. Our process is highly energy consuming, hence our products are little expensive. We are established quality, taste, and flavor from, we established quality, taste, flavor from batch to batch to be the same consistency. From 500 tubs to we came to 15,000 tubs a day, our standards are the same. All the credit goes to my team who are my backbone. And let me tell you that I still have 25% men working and 75% women. Their teamwork and integrity is remarkable. I have both women and men working side by side, taking pride in their achievements. Most of them were average with minimum education, and now they are all computer literate, dedicated workers following FSSC norms of keeping records. Hence, it is established that everyone is born with some good talent. It is the job of the supervisors and the management to get the best out of them. Be honest to yourself, honest to your employees, honest to your customer. This alone can take you to the heights you want. Hence, I just want to emphasize on the fact by creating a goodwill and trust from the beginning with people who were working with me, I established there was never any issue with labor, even when I had over 1,000 workers in my garment factory, and which were. It has been a challenging journey with challenges all the time. My biggest joy has been to see my team bloom to the heights I want. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very inspiring speech. Now I'd like to call upon Ms. Thendral Rajendran for her acceptance speech.
So, good afternoon. I guess after hearing Ms. Radha's speech, I'm sure all of you are craving for the upma. Right? I mean, I now can relate to that upma in Indigo flights. It's really yummy. Okay, I don't want to take much time, but let me begin with thanking Mrs. Tangam for this honor, and Dr. Balasubramanian uncle for being my father figure always, and giving me this opportunity to be up on stage in front of all of you. So some of the factors, what Dr. Jayashree ma'am said, the sir and madam, logic. I never realized, okay, so many days I've had those calls. I always thought it was my voice, right? And I didn't realize this. And see, that's the unconscious bias, right? Even without people realizing whether the person they're speaking to is a male or female, just because the product is a male-specific product, right? I think that really, that was a great learning for me today, ma'am. Thank you. And I mean, a lot of other speakers, like Ms. Lisser, when she spoke about the mechanical engineering, right? Today at workplace, if you go back and look at the job descriptions give specific connotations, right? Like, for example, be the superhero you want to be. Automatically, women don't look for such opportunities, even in an IT environment. You know, it doesn't come naturally for women to look at a job which is a superhero job. Okay, but I mean, if it is a Wonder Woman, yes. You know, be the Wonder Woman in your team, yes, of course, I can be. So today at workplace, we are very consciously making changes towards the job descriptions. So there are tools available in the market which gives gender-neutral job descriptions. Okay. The second aspect that that came very strongly was what Ms. Jacinta spoke about in terms of how her parents felt about treating both the child equally, right, whether a male and a female. And when she spoke about that, I thought about my parents, and there's a story behind this. We are two daughters, and my name is Tendal, my younger one, my sister's name is Edil. So both the names are gender-neutral names, okay? If people may sometimes perceive that it's a male or a female. So my father was very particular about not to align our names in such fashion, okay? So that was one. The second thing was when I was born, my mother was very particular about the boy child, you know, the first child being the boy. My father had no such biases, but when my younger sister, I mean, when my mom was carrying my younger sister, my mom, you know, vehemently prayed that it should be a boy. And interestingly, my father was, I mean, he's an atheist, so he was very, very strongly looking at having another girl child, because he didn't want discrimination at home. And I still feel so proud that he took that decision, because that is what made me what I am today. To me, my role model has always and will always be my father. And I can go on and on. You know, we have fights, we have debates, we have arguments, different generations, right? So I sometimes don't accept what he says. But end of the conversations, we truly believe that, you know, we know and respect each other. And that's the kind of liberty he's given me. I mean, in terms of family, right? I mean, all of us will want to thank the family when we have such awards. I definitely want to thank my husband, who's got an equally busy career, but never has he actually told me, why are you so busy? Why are you not taking time out for us? Or, you know, but he is also a typical male, okay? So he will expect me to give him his food, and, you know, there are such things that I still do for him. And I feel good about doing it, okay? I think it's the woman in me which wants to do it. And I don't have any inhibition towards that. And there are days when he accepts that I cannot do it, and he's still okay with it. And that's one reason why I really want to thank him for what he is. And I have two daughters. So the elder one is 22. The younger one is 7 years old. Okay? I like that. You know, when everybody talks like this, I feel so good. You know, people say that I'm very young. My daughter doesn't like it, though, because, of course, she feels very humiliated. So the reason why I said that is my daughters are my teachers, okay? While the rest of the family are whatever they are, there are many days when I've gone back to them crying after work, okay? Of course, all of us have bad times, right? You don't have all the days which is super good. None of us have such scenarios. Last year, I mean, very recently, on my birthday, I had a very heated conversation with my supervisor for 3 hours. Okay, my entire family was waiting to celebrate my birthday, and end of it, I was so upset. I was so emotional, and those were moments when my kids actually become my teacher. You know, become my parents. That's how they support me. You know, there are days when the younger one would come up to me and say, you know, you are so busy these days. You get so angry these days. I feel so sad. Very recently, last week, she said that, and exactly the same words. And I felt so embarrassed, I felt so bad. But then I immediately got back to track, because not all of us are perfect, right? I mean, we all have our own mistakes that we make. And I go back to her and I apologize. I think that comes very naturally for us women. We are very good at apologizing, right? I mean, Many instances, it's always us who go and apologize and not the men, and we're okay with it. It's our man, right? So it's okay. Let me apologize first. I do that with my kids because I want to teach them that too. I want to tell them you don't need to be strong always. You also need to be vulnerable. You also need to understand the emotion that you're going through. You will never have the best days all along your lives. And you need to have the strength to deal with your worst days and come up in life. Okay, my mother and my sister, and when Ms. Bharti spoke about my mother, I mean, they actually don't even know that they are so supportive for us. There are such words of wisdom and the kind of courage they give us at times, and without even their knowledge. I'm sure most of our mothers do that to us. Today, my mother, my sister, they've really stood by me. And my in-laws, for example, they take care of my younger one, and they ensure, even if I'm traveling for 2 to 3 weeks, and trust me, I travel on work as well as fun. I have my girls' gang with whom I travel. I tell my family I need my time with my girls. Because when you go on a trip with the family, you are invariably spending time taking care of the family, right? So I need 3 days off to be with my friends. And trust me, that's the best thing that you can do. And that's one advice that I want to tell all of you. Please take time out to celebrate with your friends, okay? So that's on the friends part of it. My sister, again, has been very supportive. Now, I have to talk about 2 friends, okay? I'm sure all of us don't really, we do have our friends, but they're the most underrated people in our lives. We don't really understand or appreciate the kind of effort and impact that these friends make in our lives, okay? One of the friend, her name is Deepna, and uncle's daughter. She's been my friend for the last 30 years, okay? And she has been the one who actually pushed me to study more. When I did my undergrad, I finished BA Sociology, and when I was applying for PG, I was not very keen to do an MBA. She applied, and she was pushing me to apply for MBA just because she wanted to be with me for the next 3 years. And I said, no, Deepna, I don't think I want to apply for MBA. I was actually, at that time, pursuing MA Tamil. And I was also married at that time. Okay, she said, I will get the application, let me sign, you just have to sign. And then I signed. Thankfully, I got the admission, okay? And today, I am here because of what she did to me that day. And not just that, every moment, right, whenever we speak, and we don't speak very often, we may speak even after a year, but we have had those opportunities. Whenever we've spoken, we just speak like, the way we were in college. We speak about everything. We don't have any inhibitions, and that has kept me going, She's been one of my biggest motivator. I mean, she has influenced my life very, very positively. The other friend that I want to talk about is with me here, Asha Malini. Honestly, when I wanted to come here yesterday, I prepared a speech, okay? I prepared something to talk about, and I sent it to her. She called me and said, I'm actually crying. Okay, I was shocked because I never felt so when I wrote it. But she has been one person who's been with me for the last 13 years, and she immediately asked me, can I come along with you? I want to be part of the ceremony. I want to be there and clap for you. I think that's the kind of strength that we all need, right? And that is what it is today. I don't want to take too much of all our time. I hope I meant anything, some meaning to all of you here. And thank you so much, ma'am, again for this opportunity. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am, for your one lovely speech. Now, I'd like to call upon Ms. Maya Srikumar to deliver her acceptance speech.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so privileged and honored to be here today with so many wonderful women receiving these awards. And I want to thank Dr. Thangam as well as the Siki for honoring all of us. Amazingly, incredibly powerful and beautiful women we have here. And when you stand in such an occasion, a moment like this, you keep thinking, why am I here? What brought me here? And I want to thank my organization, the organization with which I've been working for past 25 years, Cognizant. We used to be known as Cognizant Technology Solutions, but we are Cognizant today. That's the organization that has 340,000 plus employees, of which more than 220,000 are in India. And a team that has stood with me throughout this 25 years to make me eligible to receive this award. I don't think anything could have been possible without the team, without the organization's platform, without the leadership that always supported me, gave that environment. None of that was just like that given, but because of that only I can stand here. So I want to thank the organization and the team, and some of my team members are also here, Rofia is here. So thanks to all of them who made this possible for me. Now coming to what is my message, there are so many important messages that different people, different women leaders gave here. One thing I want to tell you is the impact of technology in our lives. So all of you here, we have around 50 to 100 of us here. I want to ask one question to all of you. What is the recent most impacted technology in your life? Something that you use daily or something that you have been using, and when you use that you feel, wow, life has become so easy because of this. Dunzo, Swiggy, what else? Zoom, right? What about bank transactions? My God, can you imagine, like even 5 years back, if you had to make a payment to someone, it used to be a nightmare, right? We have to, registering itself was only like 3-4 years back. Registering a pay and then waiting for 30 minutes and payment was just 1 year back. Today with UPI, in seconds. My God, today every day when I still use UPI and make the payment, I still wonder about the agility, the innovation, the transformation technology has brought into bank payments. Swiggy is like my best friend. I was telling that in our discussion, no? Because with all dietitians and nutritionists and all that, they were saying we should have keera, we should have this and that, and I am thinking, oh my God, I'm all junk food and I don't cook at home much because our work is always 24/7. So coming to Swiggy, Dunzo, Zomato, all that is there, but the technology has impacted everything in our lives, but I feel women run away from technology. I work for a company where every year we take 50,000 plus fresh graduates. From Rajalakshmi institutions, we have had almost like 500 selected from 2022 batch. And I'm sure 50% of them are women. Fresh graduates who join IT companies, like initially ma'am said, Thangam ma'am told about how IT has transformed the opportunities for women. And that is true. Almost 45 to 49% of the fresh graduates who join an IT industry are women. But if you look at their journey, and this is a study I did in my organization itself, after 7 years, that 39-40% women or 45% dips to 25%. In 5 to 7 years, 20% dip. And you take another 5 years, that 25% becomes like 10%. If you look at people like me in the company at a leadership level, it's less than 2%. As a vice president level in an organization which is so huge, and so many competing organizations are there which are IT service providers, you will not find more than 2% senior leaders as women. Why is it so? Multiple reasons, right? When I speak about this in my friends group where there are men, they'll say, what is there, Maya? Life-changing events. You get married, you have kids, you have family to take care. I hate such conversations, but then you have to bring a change. Don't you have families? Don't you have jobs? How is it you can have all the fun and we have to take care of everything else? So all those are reasons why women withdraw from work. But I would say today women are withdrawing from technology. Women are not keen to learn technology. Skill and capability is the new currency. And there is technology impact in everything. Coming from a technology industry, I can tell you that 40 to 50% of our company's revenue itself are coming from skills that never existed 5 years back. We are at $18.5 billion US company. Imagine 50% of that revenue coming from technology that never existed 5 to 6 years back. So the workforce that is coming, which is, I see many girls here, all of you coming into an IT company, which is opening doors for so many women to work, you need to think of how can you sustain in this career. For that, you need to be ready for future today. It is not about ready for future tomorrow. And how do you do that? By learning basics of programming, basics of technology every day. Like when we were all in school or in college, our parents or friends will say that you need to read newspaper every day, isn't it? Read newspaper, read Economic Times. That was like, because that's the only way you could get knowledge or something that's happening around. But today this generation has everything on their fingertips in milliseconds. To ask them about what's happening somewhere in the world, within 5 seconds you will know the answers. When that's the kind of information that they can get, why can't they invest their time in being ready for tomorrow today itself? Learning technology is not difficult at all. There are so many content providers, so many platforms where you can learn, and like how we used to say that read newspaper every day, read something and learn something every day. You have to learn technology and technology skills every day if you want to be sustaining and growing and achieving big results in this world. Every industry has an impact on technology. I was reading about 4 kinds of worlds that are going to exist. A red world, a blue world, a green world, and a yellow world. That's the workplace. As much as work is important, workplace is also important, right? So these are the 4 kinds of worlds by 2030 you could see. It's like a study by some consulting organizations. But what it means is, red world is all about small companies, small startups that will have data, insights, technology that they'll use. Blue companies are like companies like mine, huge companies, right? 3 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh employees, or much more than that. And they all working towards a larger customer transformation or business transformation. Green world is all about climate change, companies that work towards a larger ethical and integral cause. Yellow world is where there is self-autonomy, wellness, like Shiny's world, or doctors' world. A lot about self-awareness, about wellness, and everything about your own development, emotional intelligence, all of that. All this will exist. But in all these worlds, there is no running away from technology systems. There is no running away from platforms. Food delivery is happening to a technology platform. Everybody is enjoying that because the platform is bringing the Swiggy people and the restaurants and the consumers together. So the only message I want to give in this platform today in recognition of so many women and someone who's representing a technology industry is, invest your time daily through some learning platform to kind of advance yourself in the world of technology. It could be just reading about what's happening in the world of technology. What are new robotic systems that are coming? You know about law. Legal battles are won by robots today, because in legal is an industry where is a profession where you need to have high memory power. You need to remember all the cases that were fought, what happened in that time. So robots are able to remember that and argue. I mean, I'm not saying it is advanced like a legal advisor, but every industry is touched upon it. So each of the individual in this room, you need to put that effort, and you need to tell your friends that no running away from technology, rather embrace it, invest your time. There are so many platforms, whether it is Simply Learn, Coursera, Udemy, Udacity, edX. I can give you n number of platforms where you can learn from wellness to data science to Python to anything. Invest your time in that, and be confident about leading in this world of technology where everybody is in a connected world, a globalized, interconnected, technology-driven world where we are all bold enough to say that I know what it means to be running in this platform, know about technology. So that's the only ask I have. And with that, I want to again thank Thangam ma'am and Siki for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your elegant speech. Now I'd like to call upon Ms. Sonia Ramdas for her acceptance speech.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really grateful to receive this recognition today and thank the South Indian Chambers of Commerce and Rajalakshmi institutions. A special thank you to ma'am, who has always stood by me, had faith in me, and believed in me. Thank you so much. My journey as an entrepreneur began working when I had spent almost a decade in this industry, an industry which is a media industry. Typically, parents don't really want their kids to get into the media industry. That's not because they have any experience, but for the society around us, which obviously has this assumptions that it's a glamorous world, and kids really get carried away with this. But my parents had that faith, and like Tangam ma'am had mentioned in her speech, Shakti and Shivam, and that is my parents to me, who believe so much in me that they gave us the confidence and obviously supported with anything that we wanted, thereby letting me take a chance to be in media and do whatever I could. With all the blessings that I've had from my well-wishers, my parents, today we are owning a platform. And like ma'am just mentioned, technology, today it's such a great boon. With media and technology, today we are blessed to have a platform through which I can take great values to the society, touch a lot of lives around the world. Even Bharti Bhaskar ma'am had mentioned, we're celebrating each other here today, but there are a lot of unsung heroes around the globe. Through a channel that we own, that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to celebrate the women around the world, the unsung heroes, and bring across the values that we have probably lost today because of a fast world. COVID taught us a lot. Families came together. We all sat together. We went back to the old days of party vaidyam and all of that, thanks to COVID. I think that led to an opportunity for us to build this medium and kind of encourage, celebrate our traditions, our values. So I'm very proud and happy that I'm being recognized here for something that I have believed and started last year to be a part of the channel. With so many young faces around, I'm only wishing you all the very best. And like ma'am mentioned, there's a lot of learnings in life that we need to take. Also, believe in yourself and make a decision for yourself. You really don't have to take the words of others. If you have decided it's right or it's wrong, just go ahead, believe in yourself. And all these learnings will actually make us a successful person every day. So with that, I would want to conclude and wish everybody out here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful speech. Now, I'd like to call upon Dr. Shaini Surendran to deliver her acceptance speech.
How many of you are hungry? I know. I'm going to keep it really short, okay? So when I say bhaji, bonda, biryani, chocolate cake, ice cream, what are your thoughts? Very nice, right? Okay, so there is one group which says, super, khandipa poi saapidno. But then there could be others who say, oh God, Yanaka, itna calories saapta avladhan weight potrum. Vandappa, I can't. So there is a World War III that's going on here, right? That's what happens. So the relationship with food has changed so much. Yara Tirupati laddu kodutha kuda, oh my God, vandanga, I'm on diet. Haven't you heard this? And you know the worst thing when you go to some function, hey, no, I have weight potta. No, this could be your own friend who tells you that. How come you have gained weight? Correct? Because we don't even know what the other person has gone through. We've seen so many people, right? During COVID, we've heard stories and stories. And for all of us to have survived and come this far, some of our loved ones are not alive. And, you know, all of us have gone through so much of stress, hearing so many stories. And some have lost jobs, some have financial troubles. And there are so many challenges. And in spite of that, here we are. I think I salute each and every person who are here. It's amazing. I think all of you first just need to give yourself a pat for that, right? Aren't we all warriors? Men or women, I think all of us, I think we're all very special in our own way. Another thing is, whenever you look at a dietitian or I'll say a medical professional, whatever, please don't judge them, because there are times that they are also human beings, and each one is going through a lot of challenge themselves. Why I'm sharing this is, I remember I don't have kids. I've been married for 14 years. I got married when I was 32, and then waited for a year. I didn't get pregnant, so I went for a lot of treatment. And I remember how I gained weight because of all the hormone injections. This treatment went on for 8 years. Every time I would come back from visiting my doctor, and then I would come back crying, and then I would reach the clinic, and then I'll wear this nice smile and then talk to people. No one would know exactly what I was going through. But then there were times like, there was this function that I had gone, and one of my own childhood friends said, "Hey, Shiny, you gained weight." I was like, oh my God, you know what I'm going through, and this is not what you say, right? And that's it. I didn't go for a lot of functions after that. I'm sure each one of you have gone through some challenge. There are phases that we go through. I know somebody I know who had HIV/AIDS, and we just kept that secret really close to our heart. We never shared that with anyone. So someone might have lost weight because they are struggling with some disease, or it could be a challenge in their personal life, or it could be professional life. So today, I have a request. All of you in this room, next time you meet someone after a very long time, whether it's a man or a woman, please don't say anything about how they look, how their body weight is. Can this be a pledge today? This is my humble request. Will you please do it? Talayatinga. I need some acknowledgement. Yeah? Okay? Good? Super. Because you have no clue how much you can hurt the other person, and they might just sit there cooped up and wallow in self-pity and a lot of tears. Because I get to see this every day in my clinic. Weight check பண்ணலாமான்னு கேட்டோன்னா அப்படியே கண்ணுல இருந்து அப்படியே தண்ணியா ஊத்தும். Then I'll be like, okay, so we've stopped this ritual. We'll talk, and only towards the end we'll ask whether they are comfortable, and then only we take the measurement. Okay? So I don't want a weight on a weighing scale defining you. But of course, it'll be great if we can take care of our health. I think women are so busy taking care of their in-laws, their husband, children, naikutti, punakutti, everyone, but you guys don't take care of yourselves, right? How many of you go shopping and all that? But I'm sure you're not doing things for yourself. You, in fact, feel very guilty if you were to do something for yourself. If you're going to take some time off, go for a movie, meet a school friend or a college friend, don't you feel guilty? Oh my God, I have to go home. You keep checking your watch. So kindly, today, in fact, because I know Jayashree ma'am was talking about women's health and all that, and I'm sure she has seen so many women with PCOS problem. If you know any teenage girl, okay, or even someone who's about to get married, or someone who's trying to get pregnant, haven't you heard of, this neer katti or else the PCOS? This is a huge problem these days among girls, among women. And this is one of the reasons why they're also, struggling to shed weight. I'm sure you would have seen a lot of women who have a lot of facial hair, right? They might have lost a lot of hair. There will be hair thinning, the scalp is seen, and then there is a lot of weight around the midsection, right? So all of these things. So, and also pigmentation. So they might go and apply a lot of fairness creams or glow cream like Bharti mentioned. But then the problem is deep within. And eating right, a good healthy lifestyle really makes a big difference. Okay, so another factor is also something that I want to share is a lot of people, if you were to say, okay, you have to take care of your diet. If someone says, diet konja paathikonga, then what do? All of us will do one Google search. The doctor Google vechite periya talavali, right? Everybody talks about just because you eat 3 meals a day, everyone is an expert. இது சாப்பிடு அதை சாப்பிடாத ஏன் டயட்டிஷியன் இது சொன்னா இந்த இது அவங்க இப்படி சொன்னாங்க ஐ saw this in Google, right? So டாக்டர் கூகுளுக்கு தான் importance. I think physically you have to really focus on evidence-based information. There's so much in WhatsApp. You get a lot of messages in WhatsApp. தயவு செஞ்சு forward பண்ணாதீங்க unless you do a fact check. You really need to check whether this is true or not. We immediately forward with all the good intentions. But then what if it messes up with somebody else's head, right? Now this is very, very important, so make sure that you keep a watch because a lot of people come and say, oh, I'm doing this 800 calorie diet, I'm doing this 600 calorie diet, and they do this for 3 months, they would have lost say 10 kgs, and they regain, or rather regain in fact 10, not 10, but even 15 or 20 kgs. You've heard of keto, paleo, intermittent fasting? All this was there. It was in vogue. You know, when keto was at its peak, you know who made the maximum money? Plastic surgeons, because they were happily doing quite a lot of hair transplants. When you go on a ketogenic diet is something that is given for people or rather children with epilepsy. It reduces, it's a therapeutic diet. Like how doctors give prescriptions for drugs, calculations are made and a diet is planned so that the episodes of fits in கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்க இல்லையா அந்த எபிலெப்சி கம்மி பண்ணுறதுக்கான டயட் தான் அது ஸோ அந்த கான்செப்ட் எடுத்து வெயிட் லாஸ்க்கு பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க பட் அகேன் திஸ் ஹேஸ் டு பி டன் ஆஃப்டர் மீட்டிங் வித் அ டாக்டர் அண்ட் ஆல்சோ மீட்டிங் அ குவாலிஃபைட் டயட்டிஷியன் ஸோ எங்கள் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில் அஃப்கோர்ஸ் ஐம் ஷூர் இட்ஸ் தேர் இன் அதர் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் டூ 3 months course 6 months course பண்ணிட்டு they'll start giving diet charts. Okay, whereas a qualified person has to study for 3 or else 5 years. Some continue to study. Of course, there is continuing education also. So please make sure that you ask the credentials of the person that you're dealing with. Okay. Another thing is keto plans. There were so many people who went on it. I really had to bring this up because I've met people who lost like around 30 kgs. And then when I met them after a year, they had gained around 40-45 kgs. How is that? So kindly do not jump into anything which is in trend. Okay, the main thing is sustainability. நம்ம இட்லி தோசை சாதம் சாப்பிட்றவங்க கரெக்டா ரைட் கூட்டு பொரியல் சாம்பார் வீட்டில் செஞ்ச ஃபிஷ் கறி சிக்கன் கறி திஸ் இஸ் வாட் வி ஆல் ஈட் ஸோ தெர் இஸ் அ லாட் ஆஃப் இமோஷன் see sometimes if you were to eat say thai sadam or else if you have like say a kamarkat, what will you think about your school days, right? Or if you're eating some kind of food, there is this connection like, oh, idu enga party kodukra mari irukke indha saapadu, this taste. So there is also an emotional connect to certain food. So don't get carried away by avocados and cranberries and blueberries and maca powder and all that. Stick to what is closer to you, your local food. In fact, that's very, very important. In fact, I want to tell Radha ma'am, I used to hate upma. Suttama padikadu. I never used to eat upma at all. But Indigo upma, easy eats upma is like kick-ass. In fact, in every diet chart, ma'am, like I work with athletes who travel quite a lot, the IPL cricketers and all of them. In the resource list, I give doctors' phone numbers and then certain foods that I give. And your website link is shared there every time. And you're such an inspiration at this age when, I keep thinking I should do PhD, but I'm like, oh, you 45 vayasu aichu idukku mela PhD pannanuma. But I think I'm taking back so many messages today from each and every one of you because you've given such amazing information. And I have a mental block against technology, and I think I'm going to change that thanks to your speech. So all that I would tell here today is please take care of your health. You should be functionally fit. Rather than a weighing scale defining you, what I meant by functionally fit is if you were to go by train or else if you go even to an airport, the toilets there, if you see the Indian toilets, nobody wants to use. Ella Western toilet da use பண்றாங்க கரெக்ட்டா அந்த closet தான் they use. Why? Because இடுப்பு வலி, disc prolapse, அங்க பிடிச்சிக்குது இங்க பிடிச்சிக்குது. You don't want to use a Indian toilet. So the squatting position itself is gone. In fact, the incidence of hip arthritis is very, very low if you can actually squat on a daily basis. See, if you were to clean the kitchen, இல்லைன்னா ஏதாவது பாத்திரம் கீழே வச்சிருப்பீங்க அது ஒரு கார்னரில் போயிருக்கும் குனிஞ்சு அதை அந்த பாத்திரத்தை எடுக்கணும் ரைட் அது பண்ணுறதுக்கே நமக்கு வீல் கால் சம் குட்டீஸ் அண்ட் சே தலையை உள்ளே விட்டு அதை எடு ரைட் தட்ஸ் வாட் வி சே ஸோ த மெயின் திங் இஸ் பீயிங் ஃபங்க்ஷனலி ஃபிட் இஸ் whatever age you are, you should be able to use an Indian toilet, number one, right? Next thing is if you're going shopping. How many of you like shopping? Yes. Okay, so you should be able to stand there and shop for hours together. Okay? If you like going to temple, mosque and church, you should be able to walk comfortably, right? If you go to a railway station or to an airport, you should be able to carry your own bag. Okay? You should be able to climb stairs. மொட்டை மாடியில் போய் துணி காய போட்டு வரதுக்கான ஹெல்த் இருக்கணும். And make sure that you also have balance because I'm sure you would have seen a lot of elderly people who walk, they wobble quite a lot and you see them walking like a penguin. It's more because they haven't really worked on their functional fitness, muscle strength. So it's very, very important to focus on these aspects and go by dress sizes rather than checking your weight on the weighing scale. Because every time you check the weight, just around the time of periods, your weight will go up. Another factor is, I've seen many times brothers and sisters or couples coming. So the brother will lose weight very fast, but the sister won't. It's just that the male body is different. They are not dealing with 2 ovaries and 1 uterus. Correct? That's the problem we have, and we have a lot more hormone-related issues to be dealt with. and mood swings that we have. So in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you're dealing with menstruation, and then 40 plus, you're dealing with perimenopause, and of course, later menopause. So I think it's very, very important for all of us to focus on this aspect. Eat well, eat local, eat what suits your system, and make sure that you're focusing on iron, calcium, B12, and of course, get some sunlight. Go and do that, and be very functionally fit. Okay, this is my humble request, and I thank you so much for this award. Tangam ma'am, thank you so much, because there are times that, I used to get mails which will say, you pay 2 lakhs, this Bollywood actor will be giving an award somewhere in Thailand or Malaysia and all that. I would straight away go delete that mail. These days, awards can be bought, right? But then it's such an honor to be getting an award from Sikhi and Rajalakshmi institution. And thanks so much. I'm sure this will give me extra energy to go ahead and do my best in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that informative speech. Women contain the potential to be the smartest. Women definitely contain the potential to be the strongest. Beautiful inside out, poised, and dignified. Their work ethic is significant. Their ability to multitask is unparalleled. A woman's love is soothing. A mother's love is unconditional. The way they find a balance between family and work is admirable. The cycle of life is balanced by women. A day is just not enough to acknowledge and appreciate how much you contribute in making our world a better place. Nonetheless, I take this opportunity and liberty to represent all the men around you and say that you have our respect. I'd like to thank our respected chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Tanga Meghanathan, Mr. V.N. Shivashankar, and Ms. Lee Stalvo-Bare, along with Mrs. Jacinta Lazarus, for accepting our speech and giving their time in attending today's event. I'd like to thank Dr. Jayeshi Gajaraj for an immense contribution towards women healthcare, Ms. Bharti Bhaskar for contributing so much towards the sphere of motivational speech, Dr. Ponya M. Konsasau for greatly contributing towards sustainable architecture, Ms. Radha Daga for revolutionizing the way we eat in air, Ms. K. Tendal for her exemplary leadership, Ms. Maya Srikumar for making great strides in human resource development, Ms. Sonia Ramdas for a massive contribution towards digital connect, and Ms. Shaini Surendran for a contribution towards preventive health. I also thank the award representatives, the members of SICKI, who have collaborated with us in this grand event. I'll also like to thank our dean, principals, head of the departments, faculty members, and staff of Rajalakshmi institutions for hosting this event. I would like to thank the people who work behind the scenes and the media people as well. Thank you, one and all present here. Thank you, all of you incredible women for being you. Happy Women's Day. We'd like to bring this event to a close with the national anthem. I kindly request the audience to stand up.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request the audience to stay back